On today's episode of Let's Talk FGO, 3,300 days, or, to some, 4,000 days. But we've got JP News updates and banners, and in EN, we're counting a little down to our next summer event, the Celeb Summer experience, so we'll have a little pregame of that for you this week. All that and more on Let's Talk FGO. I am Omega, with me as always in the co-host seat, Lucky, and we are the demons of your sleep schedule.
You can't see it, but I just did like this very wide-eye, kind of expression when he said that. But I hope everyone is enjoying Fate Grand Order, aka our summer vacation has just started. And while we here at Studio Mega like to bring you the latest FGO-related news and memes, we will be talking about current and future events for both the JP and EA version of the game, so anyone not wanting spoilers should avoid Rivers of the Dead.
Yes, I shall reinforce and reiterate Lucky's general spoiler warning later, because we are doing a pregame, so we'll be talking about an event. And that event is a lead-up to a story chapter, so keep all that in mind. We will refresh you on that later. Luckily, assuming that the video is processed correctly by the time it goes live, we're doing timecodes again, so you should be able to double-check on those things. Unfortunately, my timecode system doesn't work for live streams, so last week is as it is. But it'll work for video uploads. Anyway, I paused for a second when I dropped out there. Okay. Where was I? Sorry, that changed my run of thought. Moving through our normal business, I would like to thank all of our wonderful, beautiful listeners, but especially our patrons. More on that later. But I do have my notes for Fanservant Friday this time. So that is also brought to you by patrons, so we'll punch that ticket later. And yes, actually, I suppose I should also include that in the pre-show business. Yes, I'm recovering from being sick. I'm still not like 100p. Still getting a little tired a little earlier than normal, but we're pretty normal, no longer feverish, which is good. Yay. We're back in it. All right. But with all of that out of the way and hopefully all business caught up on, we're going to first check in with everybody's favorite Kohai, Mash.
Senpai, 起きてください.
Because it's time for Wake the Fuck Up Senpai, Rick Singer for Pro Tips. I have a very simple one for you this week. Hey, did you know you have to clear the audio call prologue to do the new summer? Now you know. Yes, it's been reminded several times, and I'm sure it will be reminded several times again. We have the broadcasting coming up, and I'm sure they'll say it again. But yes, no, you have to clear audio call prologue to participate in the new summer for now. Actually, no, I think you probably always have to clear the audio call prologue. It's just that it will be a main interlude, so you don't necessarily need to worry about the story being time Sorry, wrong word there. You don't need to worry about the story being time sensitive. But if you want to participate in the event stuff and the shop, you gotta get that audio call prologue cleared. More on this later. Alrighty, okay. Step the next. Records of the Throne, our regular achievement topic. Got a few of these tricks for you today. So, most of this was on stream, but to recap for everybody, the final score for me was Berserker Artillery Caster, sorry I burped in the middle of that, and Durga on GSSRs, MP1 Zhang Yu, MP2 Galatea, and MP1 Space Arash on banners. Everybody mentioned Smiles Protected. Arash is now level 100, 10, and also already Bond 5. I actually managed to get 4 and 5 at the same time with a single teapot. I also got some SRs in there, but I think they were mostly rare prisms. I'm pretty sure I already had max level on Nursery Rhyme. There might have been an NP4 Roland in there. There's a lot of SRs, okay?
Actually, surprisingly, I didn't get a lot of SRs. I think I only got the one, which was Siegfried, if I remember correctly.
I know, it's a little unusual. Usually you're the guy who's like, I got 9 million SRs. I can't remember which ones they were.
Oh, I also got Assassin, that's right. No, I think I got 2 SRs. But for me, mine was quite simple. I did manage a Berserker Castoria on GSSR, and MP2 Arash. Actually, I forgot. Who did I get for my Destiny order?
I don't remember either. I think it was just one of those ones that was just okay. Chat, do you recall?
Oh, it was Nemo. If I remember correctly,
Nemo,
wasn't
okay.
it? Yeah.
I think that makes sense.
I forgot to put that in there. But, like I said, I did get an MP2 Arash, and that was very good. She's already 100, 10. I have not actually gotten to her and getting her bond up, though. I will be doing that here. Honestly, probably with the event. Once the event happens,
will be a bonus.
Yeah. And I think the teapots will last that long.
It starts, the 14th? 15th?
Yeah.
I think they're still good till then. They're certainly shoveling a lot at us.
Good. Shove more.
I've been
Like I said,
choosing her bond by blowing up, by suboptimally doing rank ups and free quests with her.
No, unfortunately, I have not been doing that because I decided that because we have reached, anniversary, it is time to 120 another servant. And I have indeed 120'd Barghest. She is fucking stonks. It's great. I love it. I was considering maybe doing like Summer, or Tiamat, but I realized that I do not have the coins for them yet, as I have not actually got them past their Bond 10 limit. Like I said, that it gives you a lot once you start breaking past that. And I have rolled a hecton of Barghest. A hecaton.
Ooh. Yeah, I think I've also got a lot of Barghests. I've gone pretty ham on those banners. I think she's actually NP5, but I think that might be NP6 technically, so I should count my coins as well.
Yep. I am slightly hopeful that I will do enough farming between this and summer that I'll actually get my Tomacat and my Summer Ibuki up to Bond 15 as well. Like I said, then I will have many servants getting ready for the Bond Up passive, which will be very good.
Yeah, that Bond Up passive is going to be fun.
It's going to be super fun.
I don't want to steal your thunder, but did you also mention the other thing in that bullet?
Oh, no, I did not. I'm sorry. And with the servant coin rework, I was able to go back and actually append all of Talamo's skin, so my Talamo has become even more perfect. Like, all 5 of her appends are at level 10. So she's 110, full stats, full skills, full fucking Bond. My Tamamo literally cannot get any more perfect until they do unlock the Grand Saber. Grand Caster.
Tamamo more perfecter.
Well, no, then I'm just going to call her Tamamo Grand.
It's a good rank inflation. And yes, people at home, if you're wondering, that's why I was like, I didn't want to just belt that out as, Lucky, did you talk about appending all of Tamamo's skills?
Sorry,
we zoned out for a second there. It happens.
I did. Lucky's sleep schedule is a little borked.
Yeah, it happens. Okay. This means, though, because we did okay on GSSR and Aresh, there are currently no evils yet.
Like, all things considered, no. I think I did quite well. I did not actually, I did have to spend the money to get the paid quartz for the Destiny and the GSSR, but I did not actually have to, go deep into the wallet to pull that stuff out, So
that's I was also a little nervous about fire. Like, I think I mentioned this on the stream where I was like, yeah, I maybe shouldn't have bought my paid quartz for the Pavilion Lucky Bag summon because I wasn't sure which one to pull, but it worked out. I mean, as evidenced by the usual Draco, and also technically thus because I used Draco in that slot, Oberon did dodge me another year. The joke will continue, but we do have at least one beast, and, we can keep on keeping on. I think right now I'm just deciding whether or not I want to, because I haven't cleaned out all the extra append skill quest missions, and, we got a few more things trickling down, so it's like, do I keep dumping quartz to try and get the NP2 Aresh, or do I hold out for summer because I'm gonna want some CEs and some stuff, and, Jufu? In before 10,000 seals, no Jufu. Actually, no, that's not the banner that's cursed. It's gonna be the second one. It's gonna be 9 million BB Dubais, no Tenochtitlan. Let's be sitting here going, I just want my city wife. BB's like, you called? Wrong city!
Like I said, I do think my main matter is probably going to be Banner 2, but I do want Summer Nikovic. So I'm like,
yeah, no. Well, also, I have to double check if the Summer CEs are technically on the Archetype Inception banner, because there's a Durga 5-star CE on Summer 1 banner.
Yes, it's so good. I want it.
So that's another reason to hold tickets and stuff, because, also you will want some, Summer CEs, they're usually pretty good. So watch this space. Sorry, that's a great one. Someone in our Patron chat just said, please, Mexico City, I supported you during the World Cup.
Oh my god, has no one made that art yet?
Oh,
where's our FGOX World Cup stuff? I have not seen any.
I think I might have seen a couple, but not as many. I've seen it, and who knows, maybe the fucking algorithm is peaking my Discord call, but I feel like I've seen a lot more of the joke about the Miku World Cup since you said that. Actually, no, you did also tweet that, didn't you? I think I liked and retweeted that. That's probably why I'm seeing more of it. You said it
like I said, I'm
also on Twitter.
Well, like I said, I'm pretty sure the joke went because Norway beat Brazil, which had beaten Japan. And I think at that point, that's when everyone said, oh my god, they're fighting for Hatsune Miku, and we just ran with it.
Yeah, Brazilian Miku was already like a long-running meme, basically, so then we just, enhanced it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I tabbed over to Twitter and I was just fucking poleaxed. What the fuck do you mean Perlica from Arknight's Enfield is coming to Fortnite? Huh?
I mean, I'm not that surprised. I think probably, Fortnite will put in anyone and everyone.
This is true, actually. And I mean, they also have Hatsune Miku in Fortnite, so I guess it's not that weird. But it's just, sorry.
And other, characters. So, no, honestly, no, it's good. Get more exposure for the fucking mobile market.
Get the bag. Okay, alright. Refocusing on the biz.
The biz.
As we said, there were no evils, so we move on to, did you finish your master missions? The answer? Probably yes. It's an anniversary week, so the missions, possibly the most basic baby ones ever. I think the Inoue could be even more simple if there was some, clear 5 quests, clear 10 quests in here. But you're also already doing that for the app and skill bonus mission. So to complete your master missions for this week, you need to defeat 20 enemies, not servants or certain story bosses. Actually, someday I should look up what FGO means by that. I assume they mean bosses in story who are servants, but they don't specify. Anyway, 20 enemies, then 40 enemies, same caveats. Defeat 15 each of Saber/Assassin, Archer/Caster, and Lancer/Rider/Berserker enemies. That can be anybody. Except enemies summoned during battle. I don't know when exactly they added that parenthetical, but most master missions do say that now. So do take that as a given. Enemies who are summoned in battle later don't count. And then defeat 15 demonic enemies. So yeah, do your rank ups, do your bleached earths, farm some free quests, do some dailies. You'll get them. They're all out there. Yes, thank you, Robin. Play the game. Not even do the event. Just play FGO, please. Okay, we move on to Skelegrams. First, the 9th anniversary limited servant pickup summon daily. They say daily because it's a new one every day, but they last 4 days, so I think the first one's still ongoing. But this started the 6th, so a couple days after our anniversary, and will go on until the 15th. This is the usual bevy of bonus banners.
I like the alliteration.
So, yes, that's why I said it. First is... I wrote that as Summer Hokusai. That's wrong. She's a welfare. Yang Guifei plus Summer Hime. Tsukaba Hime. Next, Ptolemy plus Mejid, a.k.a. Summer Nido-Chris. Very funny, by the way, because Ptolemy was literally on raid up last month. But whatever, man. It's FGO. We don't care. Assassin Kama, Summer Nobu. I'm pretty sure it was original Kama anyway. Because I think Summer Kama was a separate banner recently. Kintoki, Summer Carmilla, Yuzuki Kenshin, and Kenpachi. Regular Merlin and Summer Gareth, and then rounding it out with a Holmes Cagliostro banner. So just, the usual splash of just a random assortment of servants at anniversary, but if you're missing any of these guys and you didn't get them on your GSSR pulls or through previous runs, go ahead and fire it off. As mentioned earlier, we also hit 3,300 days on the 7th on 7/7, and if you logged in on that day, you got 10 sync quartz.
Yay.
It's quite a lot of days. Yeah, Summer Kama was on the pre-Steggy rerun. And then also on the 7th of 7, the Swimsuit Event 2026 Participation Support Campaign Part 2, aka we are continuing to do story support campaign because you need to clear story to do swimsuit. There's a new batch of login rewards, login for 5 days to get various things, EXPs, apples, etc. Probably a couple foes in there. Also, because to get to Audio Call Prologue, you have to clear Lost Belt 7. 20% bond up in all Lost Belt 7 quests, period, during this time period. Slightly redundant, but yes, just a bonus bond in LB7. Just do it to it. We've got another batch of Leyline Stone logins. So the first part of this had a batch of Leyline Stones, but there's even more Leyline Stones to pick up through logging in. And I do believe, based on the current timeline, all of the Leyline Stones should be valid for at least the first part of Archetype Inception, or do call 3, so keep that in mind. There's 5 new St. Quartz's missions to just clear story. And to remind everybody, the Caldea Broadcasting Station will be on the 14th. The event should start the 15th by that measure. Next, GB. Freight? That should be a April Fool's 1 year. Freight Grand Order. It's a train simulator. Let me try that again, chat. Fate Grand Order Exhibition Stargazer's Gallery Commemoration Campaign. I believe this is to commemorate a real-life art gallery display of FGO. They've done these a couple of times. I'm not sure exactly what this is in reference to, but there's a smattering of servants here. But it's starting the 11th, so I think technically it's the 11th already in Japan. It goes until the 17th. There's a variety of login for stuff. They're also doing a week-long login campaign. They've also added bonus evocation leaf to daily missions, in addition to, getting your extra mana prisms. They're also and have some evocation leaves.
Leaf.
Big leaf. But they're also running their own daily spread of summon banners, with also some old limited CEs. So we've got regular Da Vinci and the Chaldea Anniversary CE. That's the one with the Da Vinci and Roman on it. We've got Abby plus Emerald Float, Nemo plus both Reading Holiday and Refloat, Taigong Wong and the Beyond the Flood and upcoming Angler CE, and Siegfried is up on all as the 4-star. So just, a spread of banners and bonuses to get through. But also, I don't have an exact timer for this, but Waiting for You at the End of Spring has a gajillion banners. They just keep doing more. Sorry, my nose was itchy all of a sudden. But yeah, so these banners include rolling out at various times. Muramasa, Sima Yi, Drake, Lancer Artoria, Arthur, Nightingale, BB Dubai for some reason, and so forth. Also, we did actually get to see Asclepius's final ascension. That's the thumbnail image you're looking at right now. But the also is we got Adelante and Arthur rank ups. So for Adelante, regular Adelante, she got her 3rd skill buffed again. So Caledonian Hunt A is now Caledonian Hunt EX. So she's getting the juice. Let's see. I think this was always in Evade, but let me double check assuming the wiki's been updated. They always have these wonderful graphics of arrows to be like, this is the buffed.
Oof. Sorry. Back pain.
Okay, so... Yeah, okay. It was her evade and NP gen up. It is now a 20 to 30% battery. It increases her own attack 10 to 20% for 3 turns, and also gives her 30 to 50% bonus damage versus Wild Beast. That's pretty good. That's a 30% battery and 50% damage up versus Wild Beast. That's going to be good for some farming, which, considering she is a, AoE quick archer who will be shooting at some guys, that's probably a good fit. And also, as I said, we've got another Arthur rank up. This one is for NP. So, previous updates have, worked on his mana burst and, did some stuff with his giant slaying. So now we have the new rank EX for Excalibur. The new effect is, first of all, the damage multiplier went up, but the amount of stuff it does has been dramatically increased. So, does 150% extra damage to beasts. That's the class beast, not the trait. So we just baked anti-beast damage in. Also gives the party 10% NP gauge and increases the party's buster performance by 20% for 3 turns. That is after, and then its own NP damage up first, still for overcharge. This is pretty good because, unfortunately, Arthur's version of Excalibur was kind of boring. It was literally just an AoE buster that increased his NP damage first. He did not have the self-charge refund like the Kawasumi Artorias did. But now he has some party buffs and also does some bonus damage in there. So that should be good for some of your farming comps. If you're doing a 3-1-1 or something, you can juice up your squad and set up. So that was me tabbing back into the Patron channel and seeing that Samurai Jack is also in Fortnite. That's a little wild because I think it's been a while since Samurai Jack came up. But sure, okay. The evil Aku. But yes, good rank ups. And also, as we mentioned earlier, on the 11th as well, JP is hitting 4,000 days. I do believe, based on the tweet I saw, it's still only 10 Saint Quartz. But 4,000 days, that's crazy.
We still exist! Have some quartz!
We're still here.
We're not dead!
Despite reports to the contrary, we are still alive. And then I have a back half to that joke, but I feel like that might be a little too mean-spirited. But that is the end of Skelegrams. Skeletonius Grammaticus. Sorry, deep-seated war to not sneeze there.
Okie dokie. So, with that, It is time for this week's Let's Talk FGO Mailbag. The segment where I totally forgot what my usual spiel is, because I don't have it write it down. I just been saying it from memory. Hang on, let me do it again. Let me see if I can use autocomplete for that. It is time for this week's Let's Talk FGO Mailbag, the segment where we read what you have to say and comment accordingly. There it is.
Just had to reset to 0?
Yep, just have to reset to 0. Sorry, Lucky's a little out of it right now. But we have four lovely comments, and we'll get through them all starting from the top. This first one comes from Monster Girl Aficionado, who says, Dear Lucky and Omega, no questions this week, just sending good vibes. Wah, 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 wah. And wishing you well. Keep up the great work. P.S. Don't forget your PvP ladder. I should probably get at least the front lines in while I'm thinking about it. I could probably do that while we're recording, especially while Omega's doing the pregame. You guys don't need me for that shit.
Mostly what you do is just when I say something bullshit, you go, what?
What? Okay.
But jokes on this person, I did actually remember to do my PvP earlier.
Gasp. But yes. With Berlin happening in a few weeks, more than 3, but less than 4, it is important, as we'll probably be hitting our next patch cycle soon.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one. They posted the stream link today, and it's 4 a.m. for me.
Yeah, that's because, well, it is taking place in Berlin, Germany. I do believe in around that time it's around 10 a.m.? I believe I saw some notes to that effect. But this next one comes from the Tyrant King, who has triumphed in this summoning session for a rest and now worries for his next one Wednesday. Oh boy. Question. Hey guys, with the summer and possibly story chapter upon us in JP, do you think we'll get a Bell Dandy that is a hidden summer as anniversary or a summer banner rotation like BB Dubai? Anyway, that's it for me. Sending good vibes your way and hope you have a great evening. Fun fact, it's not actually Bell Dandy, it's more like Belvandi. For the 3 Norns of Earth's Golden Belvandi. It's actually spelled like, hang on.
Yeah, I think I usually see it properly in Nordic, like spelled like Verthandi. It's just like that the what's the word, like BV and stuff like that are also mirror syllables in Japanese.
Yeah, it's Verdandi, not Bervandi. But yes, it's very close. Here, I'll copy paste it.
Okay, like it's already typing it out. Yes.
But unfortunately, with the implication of them adding one of them to the story, I cannot imagine that they will not continue to do so, and I hope they do. My personal hope is that they will add add one for each card type, which would be very interesting in my opinion.
Yeah.
But more online with what this person is asking. Honestly, I try not to think too hard about what may or may not show up in banners nowadays. Like specifically, I'm pretty sure that we're gonna save the other 2 Norns probably for whatever future story segments we're doing here in Aftertime. So probably not gonna show up in the anniversary or summer, but like I said, we could be completely wrong. I will forever remember that we got freaking Castoria a full year before she became relevant in the story.
It's true.
Like I said,
sometimes stuff is locked in.
Sometimes stuff is locked in, so I'm not entirely sure what we're going to be going on here. That being said, I do think there are probably other things that people want. I think people in general want more beasts and whatnot. I can't remember his name from LB7 now. Hecking
Camazotz.
Big
demand for Camazotz, yes.
Big demand for Camazotz. Listen, you want Camazotz for anniversary because that means they're also might give you actually like a summer skin for him, where that'd be like funny. a costume or in his ascensions.
That'd be pretty funny, especially if it was actually one ascension, and he's just like, "Hello, I put on swim trunks. Why did you do that, Camazotz? Because I thought it would be funny. I'm here to relax." But yeah, no, Camazotz is a big pull. And technically, there is another design which just came out from this event, who's not playable, that I think might be a better guess. A certain young silver-haired lady who might be related to Demeter. She got a design now.
Yeah, it's a little crazy. This is the entire reason that this event was made. They just wanted to show off this one character. Like, behold!
I mean, wouldn't be shocked. They've done that shit before. Actually, I'm pretty sure I saw a tweet that Makoto Sanda wrote this event. It would make sense because Grey's involved so much, but that would also
That would
be
be
kind
in-
of similar to Castle and Night and Day into then the actual Typhon event. That's the word I was looking for. So yeah,
Does
you never know.
this one have mysteries to solve? I don't know. I don't actually know nothing about the story event. I've seen like I've seen a few characters.
It's like we do get like small Olga, so yeah, maybe. Or that
Maybe?
also could just be a son to son thing,
Maybe.
since Mary is also in Case Files. We did get Gordolph and PJ's shot,
This is important.
so that's neato. But yeah, it seems to be like it is an event, but also it's kind of like still following up on the Aftertime story. So we'll see, like how it ties into Anniversary and further.
Righto. No, but like I said, I think we've put in like a lot of our desires for summer already. Like Summer Medusa, Summer Koyanskaya, Summer Lancer Artoria, Alter specifically.
Please.
At this point, I would also like a summer KP or a summer Kazura drop. I think it's been enough time, especially for Kazura
That would also
drop.
be funny, obviously, especially given the passion lip of it all.
Mm-hmm.
But we added some more Sakura 5, so
Yes. Like I said, there's always a great demand for like summer Boudica, summer Atalante, and other such servants. Anniversary, like I said, Kamazot's be a big one for me. Also, finally pulling the trigger on Abe no Seme, also be good.
Abeno Seme's first ascension should just be a fucking Shikigami. Like his first ascension should just be he sends us an IOU. Like, don't worry, guys, I'll be here later. I'm on my way.
Oh,
Violet could also be fun because she's been data mined for forever. That would complete our Sakura 5.
it would.
It would.
I would also like to hold out hope for like Beast Tamamo channeling the power of Amaterasu and whatnot. I think that'd be great.
Considering all the other beast breadcrumbs that Natsu has weaved into FGO, we have shockingly avoided like almost any commentary on Golden Furred White-Faced Fox, except for like some of the dodgy syncretism, but also still like not a lot of that, because that event also, like, Tunguska goes out of its way to be like they also aren't actually the same.
And it's literally that Tomo saying like, "No, I didn't do it," and Tomo Cat's like, "No, she totally did," and you're just like, "Thanks, great, this completely clears up everything." Ugh. And then they go out and it's like, "No, actually, Koen Sky isn't a Tomo at all." I'm like,
It's
"What
just
do you
that for
mean?"
some reason Amaterasu was there.
She saw this and said, "This is my child now."
And then left. Amaterasu put her presets into the character creator and then went home. I must go now. My son needs me. Zwoop. That was S-O, not S-O-N, S-U-N, by the way. That at least was kind of like, that kind of shenanigan was at least prefaced, I should say, by the original Extella, because like that is actually a big part of Tomomo's character arc in Extella, in her roots, is being like, oh yeah, as a sun deity, Amaterasu exists separate from the planet Earth, so she got to see the White Titan kicking everybody's ass, and that's why I've been kind of freaked out about all this space shit.
Also, I wouldn't mind for a fucking. I wouldn't also mind a fucking Velber Altera as an anniversary servant.
Safar, yeah, that would be another great callback. Because there's a decent amount of Safar and Altera world building in this.
No. Because while I will say, I do think, like, Tomomo has been, like, hella fucking gypped. Altera has been gypped, like, I will see at least, like, twice as much. We have set up, like, all this, like, establishing lore for her and done nothing with it.
Yeah, that was a really unfortunate case of, like, we originally timed that to be a tie-in to Extella, and then the original Extella got super delayed, and then just also Extella 2 the bus has never come back because Nasu is still writing this game and still playing Bloodborne. That's actually a joke. I think he's moved on to playing Elden Ring Night Rain. But like, he's still, working on other projects before wrapping around.
Oh,
at least Altera got an idol costume.
It's true. Actually, did you hear, Nasu's actually turning, Witch on the Holy Night into a 3-volume light novel series.
That's right, yes. I forgot to mention that in news. We did get a date, I think, on the first Mahoyu movie as well. Was that September or November?
I thought it was November.
I know it was an Ember.
Yeah.
I think it was November. But yeah, we did get the release date on that. And yes, I think that also came with an announcement that he's returning to his roots, and yeah, he's adapting MiHoYo into a 3 light novel series.
I do not know who I'm going to have kill to get that put in English.
I know, right? Well, hopefully the ones they're teasing are doing well. It's going to be a recent release, so maybe we'll get some synergy. But also, probably good news for us. Still holding out for the other Aozaki sister. There will be more tie-in opportunities.
True.
For them to leverage. But also, hopefully that does assuage some of those people who were like, "Oh my God, Nasu's putting Mahotsukai 2 spoilers in FGO." Well, he's gonna go back to work on the light novels, which will contain additional character detail, and who the fuck knows? Will it is it gonna span the entire arc of the VN? Will it actually include some of his extra material? Who knows?
All right, so with that, we move on to the next one, which comes from Swimsuit Space Beast. Smiles Stufffuls of Stubborn Enemies. Sorry, I'm trying to think if there's like you instead of saying enemies, you should have used scoundrels for more alliteration.
There's probably a couple of S words we could use there. Scoundrels would work.
Like I said, usually I'm not good at coming off on alliteration on the fly, but I can usually get it if I think about it for a little bit. Anyway, they say, howdy, Lucky Meg. Hope you're having a good week, or at the very least, hope Omega is feeling better by the time of this show, since he was still down with the sickness in the 14 stream this week, and hope Lucky was able to get some decent sleep, since I remember Lucky mentioning not getting the best quality of sleepage lately. Question: we know that the Berlin Fan Fest approaches in about 2 weeks, so I will ask you, what news would you like to see from the Fan Fest? Oh, I am prepared for this question, buddy. So, first off, I want to see our updated trailer. Like I said, excuse me. No, now I got the sickness, and that machine has got away. First off, get our updated trailer. We usually do this. We're gonna have 3 trailers with the the teaser trailer, the mid trailer, and then the full trailer, which will be in Japan. With the new trailer, we will probably get reveal of one of the classes, which will probably be the gun shield knight that Yoshi P teased in California, but also might get a little bit more story detail and whatnot as well. So some locations. So with that, yes, new trailer with more things to fan over, and then information on one of the new classes and the tease for the second class. Like I said, Yoshi P, he'll do the thing. He'll wear a shirt. We'll look at it. We'll go, other than that, I do want to see, I think, the second thing, after that, I want to see the most. I want to know what we're doing with Evolved Mode. A lot of things, in the update are just going to be the normal thing. We'll get new locations. We'll get new, levels. We'll get new skills and stuff. I want to know, how we're actually switching up the paradigm with Evolved Mode. I know some people like the 2-minute meta. I do not like the 2-minute meta. As someone who fucks up his rotation on the regular, I'm done with it. I don't want it.
I'm glad that regardless, no matter what, the 2-minute meta is fucking dead, because they've already said for Reborn mode, they're killing 2-minute attack buffs. They're just fuck it. We can't do game design if we're working around the 2-minute meta. Fuck it, we ball. But yeah, the evolved mode stuff is definitely where I'm I want to see more. That's got the real juice.
But let's see here. I think that's the 2 major things I really want. I would also like probably a pre-order window, and probably see what pre-order goodies we can get. Pre-orders usually come with a mount, a minion, and an accessory that lets you level faster. I don't need that really, but I have been collecting the. We're going to be getting sick new armor sets. I already know we're going to be getting new ability. I guess no, I think seeing the level 110 skills probably goes into what's going on with evolved mode.
Yeah, because I'm sure they will reassure players who are nope, I'm not getting off Reborn mode by being oh, don't worry, you still get your skills. They'll look like this, because they're rebalancing them. But yeah, just seeing the new stuff we've got going on. Will they? Actually, sorry.
I am also.
The thought about armor got me thinking about a different thing, but it reminded me. I wanted to comment as well. I'm I think we should get a pre-order window, because they were Yoshi P was very surprised, but he was like, hey, we have a release window already. So,
yeah,
several months have passed since then. So yes, we should hopefully see that. But yeah, I was going to say, will we see like the job gear key art?
I guess the third thing I am is probably some more of the UI changes. See, like, if we're gonna, like, how we're gonna do the battle pass. I'm gonna call it a fucking battle pass. You cannot stop me. And the new, like, character, like, UI and stuff. I mean, curious to see how we're gonna change that up.
Yeah. I mean, also, yes, it is the battle pass. I mean, you could call it something else, like the 14 pass, but yeah, it's in the format. It's formatted like a battle pass. It's not like a premium battle pass, because, like,
no, it's not
the others were very, very careful to single that out in the middle of the first keynote and be like, no pay to win, no new, like, free to play shit, like, but it is formatted like the classic battle pass.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. If I knew what else to call it besides a battle pass, I would.
There's nothing else to call it. I was just thinking about this. Like, they have a similar thing in, like, I mean, lots of places, lots of gacha games have, like, a monthly pass, etc. But so often those have either a free tier or a premium tier, and they're also just battle passes. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, they call it the Duel Pass, which is just like your level up grind that also has a quote unquote premium mode. Dual Pass Gold also you just buy with gems, so though you can get that currency free. But yeah, it has like extra levels, for the gold mode. So yeah, no, it is a battle pass. So yeah, that's one thing that I think it's been a while since I thought about. But that's a new mechanic that I'm definitely also like, I want to see more of the idea, because like we've been kind of feeling it because we're like phasing in and out of doing 14 stuff, but like it definitely is kind of that way where you're just like minding your own beeswax doing stuff, and then it's just like, I guess we can do this thing or that thing. Like, oh, well, we're going to do some PvP for a PvP ladder. I guess, I'll get some, because we did some CC this week. I guess I'll get some, some tomestones from that. That'll be nice. But, like, having, like, a unified reward system, so it's more about, like, sorry, excuse me. Sinuses got me a little there. How it's more like, I think, like, weekly or monthly activities rather than, hey, make sure you're clocking in your daily roulettes for maximum currency will be nice to know.
Honestly, like, the more I think about it, I do think I do like battle passes. Not like, the premium ones, but I like the thing where it's like, all right, here's a list of things you can do, and then you can get rewards for doing them. Like, show me the list. I like the list.
Yeah, everything that gets you points moves up the bar. When you clear the points, you get the stuff done. And if it's in, like we said, like if it's in a weekly or monthly sequence, that's a lot easier to track and work on than, again, the kind of current system 14 is, which is like,
Fives.
Hey, you have daily roulettes which give bonuses, and you have a weekly cap on some stuff. And like technically, Chloe books are weekly, but also you can keep them for 2 weeks. So it's like some stuff's daily, completely. Some stuff's weekly.
Like, a unified system to show me my, like, daily, weekly, monthly activities is just good. It's just good.
Yeah, just to keep track of all of it, too. So that'll be more info. And yes, I hope we get our first class. I do agree it will. I mean, if Yoshi P could fucking psych us out, and it could be the range DPS first will be related to, Cape Westwind Savage. But I assume it's the tank.
That's what I'm assuming. Listen, he better show up with a fucking guy, like, kicking a soccer ball on his shirt. Because I'm ready for,
oh my god, if it's a fucking... Oh, if it's a World Cup shirt.
Yes.
Blitzball. Please, Blitzball. That would, once again, similar to Viper, that would technically be unique to 14, because, Waka didn't have a Jorb in the classic FF sense. My other... Actually, no, that wouldn't work, because that would be... I was gonna make a joke about give me a Vincent Valentine class. Make that chemist where I fucking chug potions to turn into a werewolf. Just do a range GPS version of Red Mage where I just do a fucking melee burst in the middle. But that would probably be pretty close to Machinist already, because Machinist is already you use a gun one-handed.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
So it probably is a little too close, sadly. I'm certainly with the time frame that I think Revelation is going to be like 2 or 3 months after Evercold tops. I'm certainly expecting that like 7 Fever is going to be rattling around the Square Enix office. But also keep in mind, chat, though, that Yoshi P's t-shirts can be very eclectic. Viper was announced in that he wore, was it all 4 turtles? I think,
yeah,
on
it was
one
all
shirt.
4 turtle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, Leonardo was the closest reference, though most of them, except Donatello, are dual wielding. But that was broad enough that like you could interpret them in a lot of ways. I remember that a lot of people were wondering, I think myself among them, if it was Donatello with the staff and it was going to be Geomancer.
Yeah, man. That was me. I was in that camp.
Yeah. So like it can truly be anything. Actually, that's another one. Technically, Chad also bringing that up. That's another thing I think they announced. I'd love to hear more. Different animation skins.
Yes, I forgot about that.
It's another thing they teased briefly. Like, it was still too early for them to have anything to show, so I'd like to see some examples of, like, different equipable cosmetic animations. That's already a thing that I know people do with mods, so, like, it'll be interesting to see if the official thing will be, like, similar.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But I think that's probably enough of there. Like I said, I'm going to be there. It'll be 1 a.m. my time. Omega might be there because, like I said, that's going to be 4 a.m. on a Saturday, which means it'll be after he's, up editing Let's Talk FGO. So he might be up anyway. We don't know.
Yeah, no, depending on the episode, I might definitely be still up editing anyway, so I'll just show up. I'm not averse to staying up late for streams anyway. That'll be close to probably close anyway to FGO's anniversary stream. I also usually stay up way too late for that. Those motherfuckers start at 5 a.m. my time sometimes. So we'll see. Yes, we're very excited. I'm glad to have more news. I've been thinking about it because I'm like, it's July, right? There it is. Schedule and everything.
All right. So, with that, we move on to last but not least, Agent 418, who says, "Hello, Lucky Omega. Have a good weekend, y'all." Thank you. But
right,
with that, yep, that's it for Mailbag. Thank you all, everyone, so much for commenting. Just as a reminder, we open up Mailbag to everybody every Friday before the show. So if you want to have your things read on the show, please check our Discord or our YouTube community for the post.
Yep, Commander. All right. But with that, Legume resume. We move into Chaldea Free Talk, where we have a couple of things to talk about. First up, let us talk about Summer. So once again, this is going to be the Celeb Summer Experience pregame. So if you are one of those people who wants to do events blind, and this is thanks to Clairvoyance, we know this is literally going to be a main interlude event. So it's not even that story or that much of a limited story. It will be back permanently, forever, because you got to do it to get into Ordeal Call 3. But this is your time to eject now. Hopefully find another fine time code to click. But this is a summer points ladder event, which is also, as I said, the necessary prologue to Ordeal Call 3. You will need to clear the Ordeal Call prologue in order to participate in the story for this event. I do not actually recall if it might be one of those events where you can do the free quests separately, but yes, it's there. And yes, to get to Ordeal Call 3, you got to clear the final act of Celeb Summer specifically, but this should end up a main interlude relatively fast. I believe, like I said, probably February of next year to lock in, and maybe sooner at this point. But you're going to need to clear 13 acts plus prologue. There is, in fact, no epilogue, because we just go to story. But to clear the points ladder part, you will need 3 million points. That's right, it's one of those. Clearing the main story will net you the 3-star CE, 12 St. Quartzuses, and 1 Holy Grail. This will have both time gates and also a series of a second point ladder called Happiness Points. In order to clear Act 13, you will need to acquire 9,998 Happiness Points, which have BB Dubai's little face on them. If you're curious, the 9999th point comes from clearing Act 13. We'll explain the part where you get these a little later, but yes, you have separate points ladder because that's different from the sightseeing points, which is the conventional points ladder. The happiness points are just to access main story, though they are also a time gate. Now, for clearing, you do have a fair number of story-only pips. Not too many fights, but I will give you advice on a couple of fights to track here and there, because there are a few that have mechanics. Yeah, it's not really like a point... Sorry, someone in chat said 2-point ladders. It's not really a point ladder, because I don't think it gets you any rewards. It's just you need to hit certain happiness point thresholds to access main story. It's a story gate to make sure you're doing your other point gate farming. Anyway, clearing the story. First time we have anything really notable happening in Act 3, you're gonna have to fight Summer Canis, Summer Mordred duo. Both have a chance to evade, like, passively all the time, unless stunned, though they each only have about 100k HP, and they are both riders, obviously. Every 2 turns, they get stunned for 1 turn, and after Canis is defeated, Mordred loses the evasion and gets skill sealed, so you want to focus on Canis and take advantage again of getting stuns.
These delinquents.
Yeah. Now, there seems to be some fun references here.
I need to bring Summer Martha just because.
Be a funny fit. I suspect that this may also... Parts of this may be a callback to the Dead Heat Summer race days, which also in of itself is kind of a Steel Ball run. Anyway, keep that in mind. But I think there's a racing sub-theme here. But in Act 4... Almost said Act 14. That's completely wrong. Act 4, you'll meet BB Dubai for the first time. She's a Moon Cancer. She's a boss with 190, 200k HP. She gets 50% damage resistance all the time, gives herself attack and defense up for the first few turns, uses her skills regularly, but the battle will end after the first bar. So you ain't gonna do the 190, but it is at 50% damage resistance. You've got some either low stakes or no fights up until Act 7, where we do have a couple of fake outs. First, you're gonna have to fight the Mysterious Executor Seal with 360k HP. She will regularly target one of your team members and give them defense down and also a taunt for a turn, so she'll target focus basically. And she has an 80% damage reduction, but the battle ends after 3 turns, so it's just like, just don't die. And then after that, you've got a question mark foreigner. What mysterious foreigner is involved in this event, I wonder?
Yes.
But they've got 288k HP in their first bar. You break their first bar and the fight ends. They also have no NP. It's extra attack only. This is why I kind of see that I feel like people felt like the gap between the Summer banner and then the Archetype Inception banner was a little longer than it felt, because you will be meeting characters you can't roll for fairly early in the event.
Yeah.
Like I said, you first run into BB Dubai as a NPC using her skills, like her actual playable character skills, in like Act 4. So the people, they're ready with the anticipation. Act 8, though, has a couple of bosses. First fight is a 320k Tiger Tank Archer. They do a skill where either they drain your HP by like 500, or they give you attack and defense down for 3 turns. And then you gotta fight a Jacques Mollet and Izo battle with some minor buffs in the back half. Pretty low. They've only got like 70k HP over in 2 break bars, I should say. Act 10 does have one of those fights I usually like to warn people about. You're gonna have a solo fight, NPC Karna only versus Kentoki, and they are wrestling, so you can't use NP for a couple of turns. In Act 11, you'll have to fight Ashwataman with 360k HP himself again. But also, he's going to revive with 50% guts like 3 times. He does have a burn on himself, but yeah, you got to fight this guy a lot. I do not know if it is an unremovable guts, though, so keep that in mind. I don't think the wiki called it out. Act 13 is the finale. It's just going to be a boss rush of like every major NPC in the event in sequence. There's like 11 or 12 people in this fight. Not all at once, but like in total. They will each like apply story buffs as they go in and out, and it seems to basically be kind of like a recap, almost like a, hey, here's your summer memories. Remember this and that guy and those guys? And I'm kind of curious to see where that's going to shake up, though, because, like I said, that's the act that leads into 1, getting your Holy Grail, and 2, will, is the unlock condition for OC3. But that is your story.
Yeah.
Now, your free quests are going to be pretty normal. There's only 1 spicy node, as far as I could see. Your normal 333 is going to be mostly riders. There'll be an Avenger boss. But it's about 40k HP for the ads. The boss is 175k HP. A little sad that they are an Avenger, because that means that I can't blow them the fuck up with Space Arash.
Heck.
No, they want me to use a Moon Cancer for some reason. But your highest node's going to be 311. It is all Berserkers. The first wave is like 180 or 200k HP. Boss number 1, 500k. Last wave, 1 million.
Oh, okay.
Now, like I said, they are Berserkers, so, you got some stuff. But, yeah, you're gonna have to fight, I believe the subtitle of the wiki is Beowulf, the man himself, at 1 million. So, yeah. Luckily, there's a damage CE in the points ladder. We'll talk about that in a second. But, yeah, Your free quest farming will basically either be probably that Rider node, or you will be slamming that Big Boy node. Like I said, it is 311. As I mentioned previously, though, there are also sightseeing quests. These are unlocked as you hit certain tiers in the points ladder. Defeating these will give you the happiness points you need to advance the story. They just have kind of like assemblages of mobs with various buffs and debuffs. The biggest HP is like 280k. They're not quite like mini challenge quests, but they're a little tougher than free quests. They are, one and done, but they are these like little checkpoint quests. They are usually themed around the sites, though, that they are based on. And yes, they are actually like sightseeing based. They're like certain parks, hotels, etc. There are also a trio of bonus quests. These are kind of like your usual like extra epilogue quests, except that they aren't actually in the epilogue time. They're just unlocked as you get through later nodes. Each of these drops a Saint Quartz, and I'm gonna guess, because each one is a battle and then a no-battle pip, they involve spending extra time with some of the story NPCs. These are basically more in the mini CQ type area. They feature one-off boss battles with break bars, but again, nothing too intense. You're looking at like 200k max on each individual bar. This is going to still be a event with boosted damage, so it should not be crazy hard to clear those. Okay, now you've got those points to clear. Well, what will getting all those points get you? It'll get you a lot of QP in this ladder, more mana prisms, more apples, all the command code stuff. That's, the 3 through 5 star command codes, all your requisite unlockers, removers, etc. It will also include just a small handful of mats, but these mats are chains, end lilies, flowers of the end, and bloodstones. You'll also get a couple of gold foes, but also there's 3 lures in the points ladder alone. There's also 3 tickets. There are 5 copies of the damage CE and the 5th copy of the point CE. It is unfortunately towards the end. It's like after the 2 million mark, so like you're probably going to get a drop before anyway, but it is there, so you can max out both of those. But yes, all 5 copies of the damage CE are in the points ladder. I counted. Now, obviously, you're probably going to get a lot of shop currency farming all those millions of points, so what's in the shop? Well, it'll contain the usual bevy of EXPs, foes, and leaves. It will also have all the costumes, that's the male costumes, and a couple of mini costumes for Seal. Glasses on, glasses off kind of a stuff. Mats like Twilight Blades, Small Bells, Soaps, that's Aurora Steels, Ghost Lanterns, Night Metals, Sun Scales, Eternal Ices, Chaos Claws, Gold Cauldrons. That's a OC2 mat, so that's pretty good. Hearts of the Foreign God, Shells.
Terror Fexes.
Lucky, I have been reading out, I think, the mats like for FGO shops in that exact cadence for years, I think.
Yeah, no, you have. Now that it's like fresh in my head, it's just like, no, I hear it.
I mean, the names of FGO mats are always so freaky, so there's no way not to do it, Gold Cauldron, Hearts of a Foreign God, Obsidian Knives, Seashells. But yes, Saber Rider Assassin statues, also another 3 lures, and 4 copies of the point CE. So if you do the challenge quest as well, that's going to be like 7 crystallized lures. A lot. Very glad for crystallized lore inflation. But yes, so a pretty decent collection. Hold on a second, I gotta blow my nose. Okay, now that I can speak more clearly. How are you going to get the points and the currency? Well, you're going to farm a lot. How are you going to farm? We got a bonus list. So, Seal and BB Dubai will get you plus 100% damage and 50% bond. So, if you end up holding out for BB Dubai, you can get the juice. All your new summers, that is the new summer male costumes of Karna, Percival, and Black Bart, Nikich, Jufu, Tenochtitlan, Double X Alter, and also Space Aresh and regular Passion Lip, because she's not summer yet. But yeah, they will all give you, also MASH gets the 50% attack up and 20% bond, except MASH is 5% for the whole squad. And then all the previous summers, including male costumes. It's a huge list. I'm not listing them all. Yes, this does include Ash because she's also Summer Morgan. But all those guys are 30% attack up and 20% bond. So, yeah, it's a big-ass list. But that should mean that if you have participated in any previous FGO summers, you should have plenty of opportunity to get out there. And I do think that some of the male costumes are in like the Rare Prism shop these days, so... And certainly some of the welfares are in the Leaf shop. But you will get a chance to get some of these with your banners. And like I said, the banners are going to be a little funny. We were talking in the pre-show about the exact timing of these. So, banner number 1, the launch banner, Seal, Summer Nikich, Jufu, plus CEs, and CEs boost currency, based on the appropriate rarity. Banner 2, the male-focused one, that'll launch at the same time. But that will be Karna and Percival, plus CEs. I also forgot to note this down in my show notes, but I should comment. These banners are going to be long. The JP timing was August 14th, so we are starting, by the way, roughly a month early over here, being July. But August 14th to October 2nd. So you will have several months to roll these banners. I don't think it will be quite as long in NA and the general English server, but it will probably be a long one.
Probably to September.
Yeah. But still, you'll have a long go to run. You'll have a long run to go for these servants, and there'll be a similar length on the follow-up banners. Now, we will also your next batch of banners will start a couple of days later. That is the rerun banners, but these will be batches of Buntoria, Lambda, Okita J, Kiara, Tomoe, Ilya, regular Summer BB, aka BB Hotep, Maeve, and Double X. They will also come with the appropriate year's craft essences bundled. Not the new craft essences, but they will have the old ones if you missed them. And obviously these are decent to roll on because these are all technically bonus servants. But yeah, this one doesn't run nearly as long. That's just like a normal 10-ish days. But when Archetype Inception drops, which in JP was 5 days after Act 13, so we'll see exactly what the timing is. But that will also come with another wave of banners, and that will be 5-star Moon Cancer, BB Dubai, Summer Tenochilan, and Mysterious Heroine, Double X Altar, and will include both sets of craft essences. So keep that all in mind. This event also should launch with some waves of rank ups. They're going to filter out, over a few days after it comes out. One of them will be for Buntoria. It will increase her Knight of the Lion skill. So now it increases how much attack it gives for the whole party, and also increases her Buster performance for 3 turns. That's brand new. Summer Tomoe is going to get an NP upgrade, which increases the amount of... basically increases all the amounts on her NPs. It doesn't actually do anything new. It just scales up more. So her Arts and Buster up will be for 3 turns instead of for 1 turn, and then the burn damage she deals is doubled. So it goes from being 1k for 5 turns to 2k for 5 turns. Keeping in mind that her overcharge effect is also to double the burn damage, so you are technically now going to 4k burn damage for 5 turns at 100% overcharge. That's increased to 200% additional burn damage at just +2 overcharge. So those numbers can get pretty big if you're building a burn team. Honestly, I think the main thing is just making the Arts and Buster up last multiple turns is probably for the best. And then Ishtar Rider is getting a skill upgrade after such a very long time. It's to her 3rd skill. That's her Invul. But it's going to increase her NP gen by 30 to 50%, and then also is a 20 to 30% battery, and also no more stun, no more self-stun. So these will be peppered out over the next few days after the event starts. But yes, good rank ups. And again, remember, the way this works, Audio Call 3 should appear on the Bleached Earth when it releases after you've cleared Act 13. The timing on JP was about 5 days after the event story last one was available, so giving you time to, farm the event, finish up your points ladder. And I believe technically the audio call will appear on the Bleached Earth right away. It's just as usual, you won't be able to jump into it until it actually opens. But the opening time was about 5 days. We're not sure on the exact timing for us. And the timing for the acts coming out also is... Sorry, I shouldn't say also is. That is probably fixed, but that was let me check the summary. So yeah, started on the 14th, 23rd, so not quite a full week. So you got about a week to do story, and then 5-ish days for the thing to go up. So like I said, that should be the first 2 weeks of the event, basically, from start to finish, and then audio call is going to drop. So either next week or the week after, we'll do the Archetype Inception pregame. We'll probably wait and see for sure if Albert and co. Give any indication about the audio call as part of the Chaldea broadcasting. Because that will, Albert knows about our clairvoyance, so that'll be a factor of, like, are they going to tease, BB Dubai and stuff like that on the stream? So we'll see if we can get any exact timing information. Otherwise, since the event doesn't start until Wednesday, 2 weeks should probably be safe. Sure. Wait, 3 weeks. That's too far. We've gone too far. Yeah, I would assume, chat saying that's what they did in JP. I would assume that he's gonna mention that they're gonna be, like, launching, a couple of weeks later kind of a thing to keep everybody informed of the timeline. So that should give us a good indication of when it's gonna hit. But that is your pregame. Good luck, have fun, everybody. Good luck rolling. And yes, keep your eyes peeled for a mysterious seal wanted this week. Oh yes, that's right. Chat's saying right. They had a graphic for how long this lasts. Yeah, like I said, you run into BB pretty early in the event, so we know it's the full title of this event is BB presents the Summer Celeb Experience. But okay, we're going. Next, slightly delayed, but it's here now. What did you fancy for Friday?
Yeah.
Well, it's still Friday. The patrons, who do get to vote on this every month, did pick one of the paladins of Charlemagne, Ogier the Dane, in Danish, Holger Dansk. But yes, this guy is actually known as Ogier de Danemark. And so if you are not sure about your Scandinavian countries, that is as in Ogier from Denmark. But Ogier is one of the 12 paladins of Charlemagne. He's not super important in the original Song of Roland, but he is in the battle. He is actually not one of the originally named 12 paladins, but he's usually added to the list in later works. And he is known to be assigned to the vanguard and commands an army of Bavarians at the Battle of Roncevaux. But there are some traditions that he was one of the ones killed at Roncevaux, but usually his fate is not mentioned, which opens us up to the great fact that, the mist didn't say he died, so it's open-ended. Also, no, he was not added by the Danes. The Danes did adopt him. He is decently popular in Scandinavia after the fact because, I don't know, it sounds cool. But no, most of the writing about Ogier is in the actual French. I am going to be executive summarizing here because this guy is actually from classical medieval French chansons, like song ballads and also prose. So some of these narratives are, like 4,000, 10,000 lines, shit like that. So reams and reams of paper in the traditional ballads. But Ogier's backstory, to summarize, is a little open-ended. He seems to be based on historical figures. There is a Frankish nobleman known as Otkar, or Otkar, who served Carloman, Charlemagne's, brother, but did, surrender to Charlemagne. And this does kind of work out to the original. So the vaguest of backstories about Ogier is that he is descended from Danish nobility. And again, later when the Danes actually get involved, they do, trace him to the appropriate time period of fabulously famous, kings and noblemen. But his people are quarreling with Charlemagne, and Ogier ends up hostaged, kept in a castle in his youth, ends up falling in love with the castellan's daughter, and they have a son. This will be important later. But typically he's kind of minding his own business until Charlemagne gets involved in fighting with the Saracens, where he's normally a bystander, but when the king's standard-bearer flees, Ogier charges into battle, takes that guy's flag and weapons, and goes into battle wielding the Oriflamme, which is a special red and gold banner, which is actually associated with the Kingdom of France, and is mythologically linked to Charlemagne. But so he goes into battle leading the flag, supports out Charlemagne, and Charlemagne's like, I like the cut of that guy's jib. Makes him a knight, gives him some swords. And then Ogier does paladin stuff. The most notable is he ends up involved in a duel with a Saracen king from India, but that duel gets interrupted by a guy and Ogier is captured, but he gets let out to fight another duel against a different guy who we don't like, and the Indian king gives Ogier his sword, Kurtain, possibly curtain or
I thought
kurtana.
it was curtain.
Yes, Kurtain. I think the Danish is like court,
Court.
which is possibly the same thing as Cortana/Kartana, but also might be different because, as I've mentioned, this story does have a very the Kurtain has a very clean backstory because it is a gift from, again, a guy who's from India. Therefore, it is not Tristan's Blade of Mercy. It is described, though, as a short sword, and one of Ogier's epithets is Ogier of the Short Sword, so he's known for wielding this. According to legend, the original earliest versions of Kurtain are the swordsmith basically tried to keep hacking through a chunk of marble, and it kept, breaking a couple points up, so he reforged it like 20 times. If you wanted to be funny, it's supposed to be an Indian sword. You could give him like a katana type sword and just be like, why is it shaped like that? I don't know. It was folded 20 times. But again, it should be an Indian sword. But he gets the sword to fight a duel against a guy. He gets to keep the sword after because they're impressed with his chivalry. He also steals that guy's horse. Ogier the Dane has a terrible habit of beating up guys and taking their horses. This will come back later in the servant profile, but I actually have to make a note of the fact that this guy has throughout all the songs and ballads and legends, he has 4 named horses. So I also want to say out there, I picked Saber because he is associated with some very famous swords, but he could also probably qualify as rider because he's got a lot of horses. But anyway, Ogier has a pretty successful, career as a peer of Charlemagne fighting until, small problem, remember I said he had a son. His son, Baudin, is killed over the matter of a chess game. By who? Prince Charlotte, aka Little Charles, Charlemagne's son. Therefore, Ogier the Dane rebels and fights Charlemagne for 7 years and then loses and gets captured for 7 more years. It's a whole thing. But eventually they hit the Godzilla threshold and they gotta let him out because they're getting beat up by the Saracens again. And Ogier says he will only fight for Charlemagne if he can kill the prince. And Charlemagne's just like, well, shit, son, all of Christendom's at stake. Okay, I guess you gotta bite the bullet. But don't worry. The Archangel Michael blocks the bullet, stops the sword Kurtain from killing the prince. What happens after that depends on the story. The first round of French legends kind of peter out, usually have him, fighting into his old age and then ending up buried in the monastery of St. Pharaoh, which also claimed at one point to have the Kurtain. But later stories, such as Chivalry Ogier, expand greater. So first of all, we add some extra backstory. Hey, did you know, unrevealed fact, but when he was but in his crib, Ogier the Dane was visited by 6 fairy queens, including Morgan Le Fay, who each gave him a blessing of being a cool guy.
This is definitely some postscript shit here.
Yeah, no, the author of the poem, it's attributed to Rambert de Paris. He definitely was like, oh, this Ogier guy's cool. We don't have enough about him. I gotta write him a sick backstory. So he also, actually, I couldn't really work this into a servant profile or something, but I should mention in that as well, it's a really weird one, but they said that Ogier's mother, her pregnancy was as large as if she was carrying 2 twins, so quadruplets, but it was just Ogier. I don't think he's as big as 4 guys. I guess that's just how high his power level was. She unfortunately dies in childbirth, though, because it's a big deal. But yeah, so he gets magically blessed, and then after all that stuff is resolved with Charlemagne and the Saracens and all the other stuff, which again, also, by the way, involves him fighting another guy, a giant from Africa, whose horse he steals. Wins by right of combat. Then Ogier goes off to what is called the Orient, but is really the Levant, the Holy Land. Specifically, he, in most versions, he's commanded to go to Acre, but also sometimes Babylon. And also gets involved defeating the Sultan of Cairo. Ogier doesn't steal his horse. He's given that guy's horse as a gift by his nephew, Gautier, who is also a recurring character in some of these later myths. But then, fun fact, the blessing he got from Morgan Le Fay was Morgan said, you will live a long life and you won't die until I get to smooch you a little. So, he gets shipwrecked. Why? Because a magnetic castle pulls his boat in. The magnetic castle of Morgan Le Fay. This actually works, though, because I think I mentioned this at some point. It's definitely in one of the Morgan Wanteds, but there's a specific type of optical illusion you see on the ocean that's known as Fata Morgana, which is supposed to be, Morgan's castle. So being shipwrecked by Morgan's illusory castle of magnets, it works. Anyway, so Morgan, makes out with Ogier. She gives him a ring of eternal youth, so he gets to be 30 forever.
Could be worse.
And also gives him a crown of forgetfulness, so he will forget about the mortal world in France. And then he gets to do Avalon adventures. He helps King Arthur catch. He helps King Arthur catch the legendary beast Cath Pulag. That's right. This guy has faux lore. But also he bums around and dumps some stuff. This is where he gets his fourth and final horse, Papillon. Papillon is a horse who used to be a fairy prince, but he lost to King Arthur and had to be transformed into a horse for 300 years. He breathes fire later. Yeah, so there's the tier list of horses goes up until we get to Magical Fairy Horse, who again used to be a fairy prince. But eventually, France is in great need again. That's right, France, not Denmark. Though again, the Danes do like him. But France is in great need, so Morgan removes the crown, gives him a new sword, because in some legends he is also referred to as Ogier of the Two Swords. Sends him back out, giving him amnesia for like 200 years. Apparently, all it wasn't for the best though, because he is terrible with place names. Like he gets lost. There's a lot of stuff in the legends after he comes back after 200 years of like the current king's the wife trying to seduce him, but he's too cool for school. He has several incidents where he like almost accidentally talks about Avalon, which he's not supposed to do. People keep trying to steal his Ring of Youth, because if he takes it off, he turns into an old man. It's Rip Van Winkle rules. At least once he does, the ring does take off, and he's gonna like old man to death, so Morgan has to come in and be like, no, I got you. Don't do that shit again. Don't take off the ring. Don't talk about Avalon. Everybody gets one.
Why are we making Morgan so cool, by the way? This is a little strange.
I don't know, actually. It's the French, so I don't know.
It's not that I'm against it. I just find it very strange. I'm not saying that Morgan Le Fay is like helping him. She technically has her own moves and stuff, but it's like she didn't like trap him up.
The idea, I think, is that in the old school Arthurian legends, like Morgan or Morgause, Morgana, etc., is like Arthur's mortal enemy until he dies and gets to hang out on Avalon forever.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, at this point, Arthur is deceased or is, eternally palling around in the afterlife of Avalon. So, like, Morgan's just chill. She didn't have to worry about anything. There are also, though, some other odd legends that may have been tied into it. There are some versions of this even later where Ogier's adventures take him to England, where he, like, marries a king's daughter and, like, is temporarily voted king of England, but then gives it back because he has to go on his trip to the Orient and shit like that. Like, there's lots of extra lore that gets piled onto him. Again, I think it's weird, because the ending of this is after he comes back and saves France. Basically, there's no, like, confirmed conclusion. He, either huddles back to Avalon or ends up in other situations. He does, in at least some versions of it, have one son with Morgan. You may have heard of before, Mervyn, who gets his own legends associated with him. But speaking though of the Danes, these stories do eventually get back to the Danish. I said before, his Danish name is rendered as Holger Dansk, and this is also the name of a short story written by Hans Christian Andersen. So much later, Hans takes this legend and run. But yes, the Danes do eventually get it back. And the really interesting thing is that according to Danish folklore, Ogier is still asleep under Kronborg Castle. This is also funny, talking about, little connections that would be really cool in Fate. Kronborg Castle is the setting of the Shakespeare play Hamlet.
Oh.
Because Hamlet's a prince of Denmark, so he calls it Elsinore, but it's Kronborg Castle. So, like, there's all these, extra details looping in. Like I said, I think because the summonable Morgan is more Lost Belt Morgan than Proper Human History. Like, she has all of PHH History Morgan's knowledge, but they're different people. She would probably be like, this sounds like an elaborate prank I could have done once, but I don't remember it. Ogier canonically owns a crown of +1 amnesia, so Fate could absolutely mine that for drama, but it could also be used to explain his own gaps in his memory.
Yeah.
Or just, excuse for, like, he gets to have magical fun adventures, but they're not quite as crazy as the Italian adventures of, like, Orlando and Astolfo. Like, this guy never goes to the moon, right?
I mean, he got with Morgan Le Fay, man. That's winning in my books.
Oh, no, he's definitely winning. It's just that his adventures are, much less fantastical, less pseudo sci-fi.
Man, I'm an old man. I just want a happy married life, and he got that for like 200 fucking years.
Yeah, he gets to
before
hang out
having
with
to deal with
Morgan,
bullshit.
Fuck around, chase foe around, get some swords. But the full version of Holger Dansk is that basically Ogier consumed some sort of fruit in India, which gives him a perfect incorruptible body. So he is old, having lost his ring of youth. His beard reaches down to the floor, but he's sitting down there in full, armor, weapons drawn, ready to spring up if needed, with a grip that can crush iron. He also is said to be, possibly under some hills or under some villages, waiting for when he is needed again.
What is this? Cooler King Arthur? What is this?
I mean, it's basically the Danish version of... There is actually a typology for this. Folklore motif 1960.2, King Asleep in the Mountain. It's
okay.
a pretty common folkloric motif. He is the king, under the castle, the king in the mountain. Arthur is the same. Finn McCool is the same, in Ireland. Like, it's a pretty recurring motif that, the once and future king will come back. So Holger Dansk is that to Denmark. When it's in their greatest peril, he will awaken with a red shield. Also, there's a very funny story that I think he could also have either a glasses costume or another glasses edit. I didn't work it into the skills because this guy's a famous and high level saber, so he's got a lot of shit already. But I read at least one folklore anecdote that he was given a pair of eyeglasses to see through the earth. When he used it, it left 2 deep holes in the ground that filled it with water. That became a landmark near Copenhagen. But that sounds a lot like crystallized wisdom. So he could be a glasses guy. But yes, Ogier has a lengthy and full career. So servant profile, we did saber, as is usual for sabers of upper quality. Also, I should specify, most of our non-Charlemagne paladins, are 4s. But Bradamante is a 5. I could see Ogier also being a 5 because, like, in addition to all of his Charlemagne career, he also has several other, big boy myths tacked onto him. So he's a pretty high level servant, as you would expect from many sabers. So, alignment, neutral good, core stats, strength B, endurance C, but it would actually be a little higher. Agility B, magical power A+, luck B, I think this guy's pretty lucky, NPB. Personal skills. So, class skills. Should be magic resistance A and riding A. This guy's like 6-fold blessed by fairies and commanded like a jillion horses. This guy's pretty resistant and has a pretty good riding. Honestly, it might even should be A+ like Astolfo's, but he doesn't actually have a phantasmal mount in the normal sense. So for skills, first one I'll mention here, Golden Flame Banner. This is a somewhat literal translation of the Oriflame. I mentioned before he saw the King's Standard Bearer flee, took up the standard, went to Charlemagne's aid and turned. So a skill which, first of all, he should have a color scheme that's red and gold a lot. I imagine him probably as kind of like a fiery redhead type guy. Put in between the kind of, blonde Roland and the pink-haired Astolfo. Also, giving him bright red hair would kind of contrast Charlemagne's, dark head of hair. But the Golden Flame Banner, I already told the anecdote, composites charisma and golden rule, because after becoming a knight, he was showered in loads and loads of riches. But also augments the defensive abilities of nearby allies, so, basically, aura buff, probably attack up, NP gain up, defense up, normal stuff. Did a little bit of fate reading, but, we like funny haha skills here. The Crown of Lodestone, so... Returning from Acre, he's stranded by a magnetic castle. So combine the magnetic castle and the Crown of Forgetfulness. So he has a crown. I did note in the skill description of this that she also, Morgan also gave him the Ring of Youth, but it's just not represented in this work because
he's dead.
he's dead already. There's too much shit. He's already summoned in the prime of his life, you know? Like, so that doesn't really matter. I mean, I think it would be neat if he could have a different ascension that is also, you know, beard to the ground, but technically he should probably just be his 30-something self the whole time, because I think technically he only has the one prime. It's just that thanks to the Ring of Youth, his prime lasted a long-ass time.
I would like to see him with a good beard, though. We don't have enough guys with good beards in Fate. I will say that.
I think that would be a fun ascension, to be like, you know, you see him kind of like younger, like even younger than 30, kind of like super youthful, and then, you know, come in and it's like, get his beard, maybe get a little bit of gray at the temples and be like, oh yes, you know. Legends say that my beard grows all the way to the ground, but that would get in the way fighting master, so I'll keep it trimmed. Personality-wise, like I said, I think Ogier is kind of like not the friend nobody likes, but he should definitely be like the hothead contrasting character, because, you know, he was not afraid to, you know, argue with or even fight against Charlemagne for his own, you know, personal honor kind of a thing.
So the Lancer?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Like, I think if he saw, you know, heroic spirit Charlemagne, Ogier would be like, ah, your majesty, you're here. Ah, you're here to do cool stuff. But then he would also definitely be the guy, your holy majesty, your plan is dumb. That's stupid. Why would we do that? Why don't we just hit them with swords? And Charlemagne would be like, that's not cool enough. I have to shoot swords that are also beams. But anyway, the Crown of Lodestone, you know, protects him from metal projectiles similar to projection from arrows, but also has the power of forgetfulness. It seals his memories, but protects him from mental interference. So this could just be, you know, another skill. It could even be something like his Bond CE. You know, I could see a Bond CE with, like, you know, giving him like 2-3 evade, you know, a couple of debuff immunities. Maybe also have a demerit on it. But like, it's something that I felt was important enough to the lore that I feel like Fate could mine for a little bit of pathos. You know, this whole thing of like, well, this guy did get to have fantastical adventures, but he did get a magical amnesia crown for like 200 years, and like, it does fuck him up when he goes back to France, because he has no idea how much time has passed. Like, the story even says, oh, he went to this place to go find his, you know, his uncle, only to discover that he was long dead, and then gets into a fight because, you know, the locals are like, no, you're not Ogier the Dane, that guy's been dead for 200 years. Gets his beloved squire killed.
Also does sound like Ogier the Dane might be a little bit of a dumbass.
Yeah. Strong of heart, dumb of ass kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
He should definitely be very, 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 very jocular. Maybe even a bit of a himbo. Like, if you make him airheaded because of the amnesia crown, that works. But I'm gonna run through the 6 blessings the fairies gave him. Spoilers. You know, wisdom and intellect is not in that list.
The game was rigged from the start.
Yeah, they gave him the 6 blessings of being the high school quarterback, basically. But yeah, so I think the crown should be, you know, mentioned in there somewhere. We've got the Golden Flame banner. Obviously, you got to talk about the king under the castle, you know, the ability attributed from Denmark. He's supposed to be sleeping either in, like, a sunken cavern or under Castle Kronborg. Armor and weapons ready to go. So combining, you know, elements of natural body, so his strength stat is amplified and his stats are harder to degrade, and also the classic Batcon. He returns from a fight with wounds that should kill him. He is, you know, the king under the mountain waiting. So probably, you know, self-debuff cleanse, debuff immune, and then guts. Actually, does natural body have a self-heal? We could do self-heal. Astolfo would definitely call him the fun police. Also, I like the implication, because Astolfo is a British prince, that would mean that the English daughter of a king that Ogier made out with would have been Astolfo's sister. Astolfo, of course, would be like, did I have a sister? Ogier, did you fuck my sister? I don't remember.
No, clearly it was just Astolfo dressed up in girls' clothing, and they just made out at one point.
And, you know, we're giving Ogier the himbo life. He can go for it. But yes, have a big guts. But so, the 6 blessings. We're talking about them last, even though they were technically first, because alphabetical ordering and all. But yeah, he was visited by 6 fairy queens, including Morgan Le Fay. Several other who were named, stuff like Floriana, Gloriana, some who were not named, but at least one fairy queen is a fan of France, because she was described as having a white fleur-de-lis emblem. But basically, he has a blessing of longevity and long life, great chivalry, never missing a battle, being undefeatable in combat, lucky in love, and full of grace and charm.
That's definitely a himbo. That's such a fucking himbo.
Like, he's got a winning smile. He's buff. He's lucky in love. He's, you know, undefeatable, etc. I love one of the blessings explicitly is you won't miss a fight. It's great. But yes, this should technically be similar to Protection of the Spirits, an ability that Lancelot and a few other knights have, where, like, in tight situations, his, parameters increase and he can perform feats of arms. But also because it gives him, talking about like lucky in love and like full of charm and grace and chivalry and stuff, also extends to like social situations. He feels like the kind of guy who would just effortlessly smooth over conversations when he's trying to be charming. It's just that he does have a nasty temper when he feels like it. Also increases magical energy output with a pseudo fake core, but that's usual shit. So, the Noble Phantasms. I've jotted down 3, but some of these would probably be just skills. The first one is, of course, our classic Cortain, the Sword of Swift Victory, a B++ anti-personnel Noble Phantasm. Also spelled Cortain with like an OU, Curtain, Cortain with an E, Court, and the Dutch could be Kurt or Cortone. Anyway, it's associated with Ogier the Dane. Might be related to the legendary sword Cortana, which was supposed to be in the possession of Charlemagne, twin with Durandal and Joyeuse, which is also the Sword of Mercy known for Sir Tristan. But again, the earliest records had it in possession of the chivalrous warrior king Kadehut of India. The remaker had to reforge it 20 times to end up with a shorter length. He ends up keeping the sword in representative of his own nobility. Ogier is respected by his foes, but also has a tense relationship with his allies sometime. And obviously, the angel Michael did intervene to stop him from killing Prince Charlotte, Little Charles. So this sword, his short sword, is his, common everyday sword. It doesn't really have any special construction or inherent magical abilities, but it sublimates the legend of Ogier of the Short Sword, who, according to, the chansons, the French ballads and prose, would sometimes, casually defeat hundreds or even thousands of foes by himself. Rack up just great personal combat victories. Also, it would be difficult to guess his true name just from him using it in combat. It would be like, oh shit, who's a knight who uses a short sword really good? There's a couple of different guys that could be. However, he did use it to slay like monsters like giants and trolls. He gets some troll killing done in some of the Danish retellings. So it can defeat mystery and monstrous beasts. However, it would be weaker against those of good alignment in lore because of being deflected by an angel. So this, depending on the era of FGO, there's a few ways you could take this. I kind of like this as a skill, and it just, is probably like a multi-card buff, crit buff. I kind of like the idea of him doubling hit counts like Musashi. He's just so fast that he hits people twice. He does have a second sword also, though, Chad. Like I said, he was known as the, Ogier of the Two Swords. But so, this could tie into a thing later for his final Noble Phantasm, but we'll come back to that. But I imagine, like, Curtain is just, like, the sword he's using all the time in normal battle. Draws his short sword, stabs people a lot. But of course, we had to include Papillon, the fairy horse clad in flame. So I do actually, jot down his list of horses here, because he's got a few. There was Breufort, one from Brunamont the Savage, who was his companion for many years. The powerful Bolsent, one from Brehir of Africa, who was described as a giant. Unfortunately, the first horse, Breufort, died in that battle, so he needed a new one. Marshavali, owned by the Sultan of Cairo. But his most powerful horse is Papillon, obtained, in Avalon from Morgan Le Fay. Papillon was once a fairy prince. He was defeated by King Arthur and forced to be unable to speak as a horse for 300 years, after which he would regain his crown. As a fairy and a horse, Papillon is intelligent. He is capable of performing fairy tricks. In the legends, he actually changes his color. He's described... most of Ogier's horses are described as mostly black or like a patchwork. So he's a black horse, but he pretends to be a white horse later. He can walk on clouds. He, at one point, summons illusions of dragons and also can breathe fire, like I said. I believe the actual way the song describes it is the horse's mouth opens as wide as a furnace and 2 fire-breathing dragons fly out. So, fairy
horses, not even once, man. Jesus.
No. And again, this is a horse who used to be a guy who might be a dragon. We've got another dragon horse.
Him and Son Goku might actually fucking get along. Jesus.
Probably. Also, so his 300 years should be over. So, like, technically, I think Papillon can speak. He just prefers not to. But I do imagine that he has, like, cartoon horse powers. Like, an intelligent Disney movie horse abilities. to just do, funny expressions, do things horses normally can't do. But also, he would be a prince among horses. I imagine, of course, he would join, the crew of intelligent horses like Achilles' horses, Tanga Wong's mount, who's sometimes a tapir, red hair.
Oh, that's right. The dragon horse is with Tripitaka. We just don't see it that often.
No, it doesn't come out. Probably because of earliness. That would totally be a skill animation. By the way, I imagine that, I note that, if he was a writer, he would always be present with Ogier, but he has to call him as a saber. I'm imagining it being like a scale animation where Papillon shows up. Also, if you don't know, Papillon is French for butterfly, so I imagine, a black horse with like one of those rainbow butterfly masks over his face. Why does this horse have a mask? He's a fairy. Don't ask questions. This motherfucker absolutely sparkles. Papillon's my goat. But so his final sword, Sauvigny. Relentless. Flaming brand of life's breath, A-. I did double check. Technically, this sword is, like, even Wikipedia labels it as fake lore. This was the name of a sword that was applied to Ogier, like, way later. But this is fate, so we get to do cool mythological interpretations to give Ogier a flaming sword. So, in Chivalry d'Ogier, obviously cribbing from Meleager's legend, originally, Morgan gives Ogier a, flaming brand, a stick, and says, all right, your time on Earth's up when the stick is burned up. But yet and again, somebody tries to, he tries to self-terminate, chuck the wood in the fire, and Morgan pops out and is like, no, don't do that. You get one more chance. Everybody gets 2. Technically, actually, I think the ring would be everybody gets 2, because that happens after. It's the firebrand, and then it's the ring. But in modern English, we use firebrand to refer to a flaming sword. So he has a flaming sword, a fairy-made sword, forged in the planet's inner sea, but instead of being filled with the breath of the planet, it's powered by the user's vital energy, which is technically separate from your magical energy. So, normally, this would risk killing the user if you had the sword, a magical attack draw directly on your life force. I believe this is why Shiro is, like, constantly on verge of exploding, because he just keeps making new magic circuits and filling them with his vital energy rather than, cultivating magical energy like a normal guy.
Bro got swords for brain. What do you expect?
Literally. But, as noted, Ogier's like 3 times over blessed with like extra life juice, so he can do this a lot, and it would, in a normal Holy Grail War, allow him to use this Noble Phantasm repeatedly without drawing on his master's reserves of magical energy. It will eventually catch up with him, but it is a sword he can wield that should produce great wet red flames, not unlike the breath of a dragon, felling armies in a single stroke. This is actually something I found referenced, again, kind of in the fake lore aspect, but there are several, like, old school editions of Dungeons and Dragons where, they would just whole hog steal real-life mythological items, but there are references to, like, +1 or +3 flaming swords as, Sauvigny, associated with Ogier the Dane, so, like, the mythological basis is a little loosey-goosey, but this is fate. Are you gonna not let us have a cool flaming sword?
Flaming swords are cool.
But because he is also known as Ogier of the Two Swords, his skill is so great that he can technically use both swords at the same time in some kind of secret technique which would produce a anti-fortress level assault to demolish his foes. Some other paladin might call it some sort of ultra combination attack or a one-hit kill technique.
I'm slightly shaking my head, just letting you know.
You know that Astolfo would try to be like, that's right, that's Ogier's secret technique. And Ogier would be like, Astolfo, I didn't do this while I was alive. I got this sword at Avalon. What the fuck are you talking about? And Astolfo's like, shut up, you've got a cool sword. You gotta roll with this. Pulls out, living sword. Look, I have a change sword. But yes, so I imagine that this would normally be a pretty normal AoE. It would probably be pretty strong because I'm imagining having a demerit where it costs him 1 or 2k HP kind of a thing. But I do also, this could be like, Cortain could be a skill that if you proc, it switches him to a single target. And he does, the super ultra 2-sword attack on a single target, which would probably involve, cutting them a lot. Yes, that is the Noble Phantasms. And like I said, I'm imagining, like, color scheme. Charlie would also say that because he would be like, you've got 2 swords? That's cool. You've got to have a secret technique for when you use both swords. And then, again, Charlemagne Roland and Astolfo would spend, like, the next, 10 minutes trying to name Ogier's secret technique, and he's just like, guys, hello? Help? Papillion, help! The horse starts, like, doing sign language in the ground to name the ability. Contributes his own opinions. Like I said, color scheme-wise, I think Ogier should be, like, big red and gold. Like, he's associated with the Aura Flame. Several references I found had him associated with the color red or fire. Like, one of the Danish legends is that he's supposed to come back to, aid with a red shield. There are some versions that kind of mix him in with, again, more of that Arthuriana that also call him, like, the Red Knight, which is another recurring archetypal character in the Arthurian cycle. There's quite a lot of Red Knights, including a handful that are killed by Parsifal. There's a Red Knight and one of the many colored knights that, Gareth beats up. Stuff like that. So definitely be red, and I like the gold. I'm kind of imagining, again, kind of, a fiery redhead with a winning smile, but he's got to have a serious mode. He'd be the kind of guy to have, like, a eyes on fire sprite. That's an old school anime expression. And like I said, I assume that, again, being mostly Lost Belt, Morgan and FGO would probably kind of just, like, wash their hands of the whole thing and be like, I don't remember doing any of that stuff, but that does sound like something Proper Human History Morgan would do as a prank. Also, there's been a whole subplot unfolding in Patron chat, and I think the moral of that story is just, this is why you should do research.
Research is important.
I had a lot of fun running through Ogier's research. And like I said, I think normally, like a lot of the other paladins, he would be a 4, but I could see this guy going to 5 because we added a lot, and, of course, it's still all the French's fault, just like Lancelot. It's just that he's like a reverse Lancelot. He's an original character, like, from the actual French epics, but they decided to take a guy who was technically foreign, he is known as Ogier the Dane, Ogier of Denmark, and just, like, add all this extra cool bullshit of him rattling around, Acre, England, Denmark, other bullshit, and then, the whole, like, oh yeah, and then he gets kidnapped to Avalon and fucking gets Rip Van Winkled for, like, 200 years. Where did that come from? I don't know, man.
I need to double check this fucking folklore myth checklist, because it seems like this guy hits a lot of them.
Yeah, they probably did add a lot, because there's the King in the Mountain later. He has, like, a quarrel. He has multiple different relationships, which all mysteriously end as he goes along. The thing with the horse is, like, he has a famous horse that he won off a guy. That horse is with him for years. When he's captured, after surrenders to Charlemagne, they're separated, but no other horse will take him after he gets let out. So he's reunited after years with his famous horse. And then, unfortunately, in the next battle against a giant guy, his horse dies. But luckily, the giant had a horse that no one else could tame, so Ogier's like, fuck it, new horse. Now, obviously, horses are very important, like, if you're talking about, like, medieval economics. And there's, like I said, there's lots of other stuff you could associate with this guy. That's why I put the Golden Flame Banner skill says it's got Golden Rule rolled in, because, like, also he is like, at one point he, fights a duel for the honor of an admiral's daughter, so he's, like, rewarded with, like, a fleet of dozens of ships, at some point, there's a ransom for, like, the Sultan of Cairo, where he's paid 100 falcons. Like, the usual mythological inflation takes place. And like I said, Ogier is probably very loosely based on an actual historical person, but it's far enough away that, like, it is mostly just added on by, the French troubadours, and also written in prose. Prose editions were printed in the late 1400s, early 1500s. There are a couple of mentions of him in some romances from Italy, but those mostly seem to set up, again, kind of the King Under the Mountain myth. The verses of Luigi Pulci, translated by Lord Byron, by the way, into English first, but mentions that they render his name as Ogier with a U, possibly Ugerio. But they say that, he's in a sunken cave under the water, mounted on his horse and fully armed, ready to go. So, like, that may be the origin of that extra myth, but they added a lot of stuff. But that has been your Fanservant Friday. Like I said, I think Ogier's pretty cool, and he has all the bullshit that Fate would love to just keep pulling and adding and sticking. Making jokes about horse upgrades. What about horse armor? But with the close of Fancy Red Friday, remember you can support us on Patreon at $5 and up level 2. Vote in that poll. New poll up. Patrons at a level can also watch along in the Patreon chat, so you can see some of these memes being posted. There was a whole subplot going on. But that means we are leaving Caldea Free Talk and moving on to What's Up.
What's up? Omega, can we take a small break, please?
Let us take a break. Oh, big loud click in the microphone. I caught that.
Oh, Lucky has a Coke Zero.
Yeah, you go chat. Enjoy your Coke Zero ASMR. Because we're back.
We're back.
So, it is What's Up, and I have been yapping for quite a bit, which I think means it's perfect. That's why it's number 1 in my list, to have you take the wheel for a bit. Because I know you have been going absolutely bananas for Kingdom Come Deliverance.
I have, I'm not getting a lot done in Kingdom Come Deliverance because there's kind of a lot of... Well, for one, I'm getting my ass kicked. I'll just be upfront. I'm getting my ass kicked in Kingdom Come Deliverance. I owe Axe an apology. I didn't realize this when he said it was jank. He wasn't talking about, the game overall. No, he was talking about things like combat and traversal. Those are very jank. So I've been getting my ass kicked a lot. Kingdom Come Deliverance is a game that requires you to master its system and does not necessarily give you the leeway to do so. If you go out into the woods looking to start a fight, you'll run into 4 or 5 bandits who are more than willing to gang up on you and stab you in your fucking ass while you try to take care of one of them. Like I said, it's very realistic. It's very realistic, so I don't necessarily hate the combat. I just have to be much more judicious in how I start combat. If you are good enough at the game and have enough armor, you probably can run into the middle of camps and just beat everyone to fucking death. But until you get to that point, you have to be very careful. This is somewhat exasperated, though, unfortunately, by a very bad lock-on system. I actually had to do some research into this, and the lock-on system is not the greatest. It will literally make it almost impossible for you to run away in combat. Not to say that running away in combat is easy to begin with. If you are fighting multiple opponents in this game, they will, sprint ahead of you so they can, circle behind you and stab you in the ass. They will surround you and beat your ass. The enemy AI is actually pretty robust. And if you have to basically focus fire on one dude at a time, that means there's 1 to 4 other dudes who are slapping you. So it can be very difficult if you get into a fight situation. The automatic lock-on system that Kingdom Come Deliverance uses makes it very hard to disengage. You can only kind of backpedal slowly while everyone else just continues running around you. So, normally what I have just started doing now is, which is a completely viable option, is usually I will fire arrows into their camp to get 1 or 2 of them to come out, kill them, and then move into the camp. Or I wait until night has fallen and everyone is sleeping and I can strangle them in their bed. Yes, you can strangle people in their bed.
Not very chivalrous, but victors write history books.
Yeah. So, like I said, you can't, just run into combat and stuff. You actually have to take your time, and you do have to learn how to sword fight properly. There are, different techniques and things you can do to do that. But everyone, like I said, Henry starts off as the son of a blacksmith who family is very no, you don't wield swords. You don't need a sword. We live in a peaceful time. Nothing bad will ever fucking happen. And then something bad immediately happens. So you're basically learning how to wield the sword from scratch. So it does make sense. It's just the unfortunate bandit that fucking farmers with fucking carpenter axes and shitty swords are usually much better sword fighters than you are. And like I said, they have numbers. So no, combat, while duels, when you're fighting one-on-one, combat's great. Combat's amazing. I love it. It's great. Just the parry, the ripostes, the blocks, swinging from different angles. It's fun. But like I said, it's not archery. Archery is still a pain. I've gotten better at it, but I miss more than I hit. Like I said, I have been spoiled by the fucking, the aiming reticule or the aiming line that you see in a lot of games. Kingdom Come Deliverance does not have that. But, like I said, I will say there is a joy in getting better, just in general. Because there's several ways to improve the skill. through skills, because you have your stats, you have your combat skills, and you have your regular skills. Stats are improved just by doing stuff, generally, and skills you can like improve by either like doing stuff, going to trainers, or reading a book. You have to learn how to read first, which is his own journey, which I think is pretty good. My Henry's, let me see here. I have it open right now. His reading right now is 12. My highest skill is at maintenance, which is 18, because I fix a lot of shit, because boy, hell yeah, that saves me money. Let's see here. What else is high in my skill list? Yeah, so it goes maintenance at 18, reading at 12, horsemanship at 8. Let's see, I have 1 in alchemy, 3 in drinking, 5 in herbalism, 1 in houndmaster, because I just got that DLC, so now I have dog. 6 in hunting, 3 in lockpicking, 3 in pickpocketing, 4 in stealth. Combat, I am currently 8 defense, 8 warfare, 1 axe, 7 bow, 2 mace, 9 sword, 3 unarmed, and my stats, my level is 9 right now, and my strength is 9, agility 9, vitality 9, speech 8. Then I have derivative stats from that, but we won't get into that. So, like I said, as you can see, I usually am a pretty straightforward. I don't do a lot of sneaking and skullduggery stuff, but I'm not relying on it a lot. But like I said, you basically start as just, kind of a layabout in the story. You, like I said, you help out your father in the forge, but you mostly just kind of do dumb shit with your friends. And you're trying to work your way up to be something, knight adjacent. You can't actually become a knight, but I do believe you become a squire at some point in the game. Or a page. I don't know. You get attached to Hans, who is a cool bro, and I'm excited to see more of him. Like I said, it's kind of amazing. But like I said, no, and I kind of love him for it. I'm gonna be real. Because that means Henry usually has to be the voice of reason or restraint, which makes a great dynamic. So, like, there is a lot to do in the game, and like I was mentioning this earlier, I did get Houndmaster up because I got, PlayStation got me. They fucking got me. They gave me Kingdom Come Deliverance for free, and I was looking at the DLC, I'm like, oh, I can get all the DLC for $20, but that's 20 fucking bucks, man. I don't want to do that. I checked the next day, there was a 75% sale off on all the DLC. I'm like, shit, it's $5 now.
Absolutely got you. I've done many. Listen, there's a lot of discourse going around about, the digital future and all that, blah, blah, blah. But, like, I know PlayStation Store isn't Steam, but they do still do discounts. Like, they are not Nintendo, where they basically never do a sale. Like, shit does go on sale, and sometimes those discounts are deep.
Oh, Max, do you still get to keep Mutton, too? I hope so. He's my boy. He's my good boy. Yeah. At least he shows up. But, so yeah, no, I got all the DLC, and I do think, like, I like it. It is, like, rough. It is combat is jank. But, like, honestly, for, medieval peasant simulator, it's quite fun. Like I said, like, the amount of armor and clothing in game is amazing. Axe was actually mentioning earlier, like, how in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, you have a bunch of different, like, armor sets for different things. Like, you kind of still have the same thing here. Like, right now, I'm wearing my, like, I try to, like, overlap them as much as possible, but I have a setup, like, I have a clothing setup for sneaking, I have a clothing setup for armor, and then I have I'm working on my clothing setup for impressing people, which, basically, the fancier clothes you wear, the more people will respect you. Go figure. Ooh, excuse me. So you want to wear, the bling and the fanciest clothing so people will take you seriously. Which I find actually rather novel. And like a lot of it can influence a lot of conversations. Like me here, like a month ago was just a humble blacksmith's son, but here I am wearing kettle helms, full mail. I'm not in like plate yet, but I do have like lot of riveted stuff. Like I've riveted gauntlets, riveted pauldrons, riveted chalices, and a full-on, brigandine. Like, I look like someone who will do some fucking damage. And, people respect that. A lot of people, they say to me, if they don't comment it that I'm so beat up or covered in blood, they'll be like, hello, sir, knight, how may I help you? I'm like, I'm not a knight, but I'm not going to correct you of this, misunderstanding. And it's kind of fun to see that. One of the unfortunate things about, Kingdom Hearts Deliverance, which is one of the reasons why I've realized that, why I haven't made progress though, is that many of the quests are timed quests, meaning once you start it, like, things will happen in the overworld, which personally I'm not against, but like I said, the Kingdom Come Deliverance is not necessarily forthcoming with a lot of the details and such things.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's not necessarily a negative, but if the game doesn't necessarily forewarn you that kind of stuff is happening, that can be, surprising, sometimes off-putting.
Oh, did I say Kingdom Hearts Deliverance? Son of a bitch, Lucky. Good job. Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Leave a comment if he said Kingdom Hearts Deliverance in the final edit.
But no, time quests have make it like thankfully, like the game, you can still continue the game and time quests, but you can fail quests and you can get like suboptimal outcomes. And unfortunately, I am not a person that likes suboptimal outcomes. I can't just let it go when I know I could have done better. Like generally, if I have to fail a quest, it's because usually on some monetary or moral / ethical ground that I fail it, not because I didn't, sprint to to a house in time.
You choose to fail rather than failing through circumstance.
Yes. Like I said, there's some people who would argue for, you should let, whatever happens, those are the choices you make. And I don't disagree with that, but also like that gets my goat a little bit. I'm just all like, I didn't know. Like so many other things in this game, like aren't timed. Why is this one specifically timed? God, like I think I've been like 2 weeks. They've like, there's a series of events that was like slightly freaked me out because I didn't actually have time. This is where I had to this is where I learned how to bullshit my way through combat. But there's a point in the game where after you go hang out and you become best bros with Hans, you come back and immediately are given another quest where you have to go investigate a murder at a horse ranch, at a stud ranch. It turns out that if you don't go immediately, you start losing reputation with the soldiers and stuff, which is something you generally don't want. The better reputation is, the easier it is for you to get away with things. And if you aren't quick enough on doing that, and another thing, you won't find clues to lead you on to the next part. You'll still be able to progress. Ooh, excuse me. The Coke Zero is getting me. You'll still be able to progress, but it won't be as smooth. So generally, when you start a quest, you want to push them. Like you don't want to push them.
It's kind of. Sorry, excuse me. Scratchy thought I was going to say. It sounds like it's running kind of like counterintuitive, possibly as a like. I have to be very careful about saying this word, but it may be a deliberate choice. But it kind of sounds like it's running almost like a subversion of the normal way this sort of open world RPG does stuff, where just you get a quest and you're like, ooh, need a quest, and you put it in your little quest book, and then you get to it sometime. Looking at you, Skyrim.
Like honestly, I keep wanting to say this game really seems like we're gonna make a better Skyrim. Like,
I mean, I could see that. First of all, Skyrim is fucking old, but like, I've seen some tweets and posts going around about people being like, "Oh my god, the indie mecha game revolution is here," and it does actually kind of seem like it. There's a lot of cool like demos and early access of like mecha genre stuff bubbling up. One that I need to keep an eye out for when they do an open beta is, I think is it Iron Valiance? It's like the art style is what if Valkyria Chronicles was a mecha game?
Ooh,
yeah, I'll drop some lines here if there's more about like beta and stuff, but I know they're working up to it. But like that's, I think, because a few years back an Armored Core came out now, and people were like, oh, I can't wait for this to reinvigorate the mecha genre, and it did eventually. I think Skyrim kind of had the same thing where like people were like, oh yeah, medieval or fantasy RPGs that are almost immersive sims, what can we do with that? And then the Kingdom Come guys were like, hold my beer. Because there would have been enough gap for that kind of inspiration.
Well, like I said, it's a strong medieval setting. Like, it's a really good medieval setting. Like, I'm staring at the houses, going like, okay, how am I going to do this in vintage story?
Oh, it's that good, huh?
Yeah, no. Like,
are they wattle and daub or more of a?
No, there's a cobblestone, wattle and daub, thatch roofs, plaster. Like it's the whole nine. That's why I like running around like. Oh god, didn't I mention at some point where I was just saying I'm gonna go into Kingdom Hearts? I almost did it then. I caught myself that thing. Kingdom Come Deliverance, and I'm just gonna go stare at houses for inspiration.
I think that did come up, yeah.
But no, it's good. And like I said, it's a little tough. Like I said, like I think I only win like maybe a third of the combats I get into. Especially a third of the multiple combats I get to. I don't fear anyone one-on-one. But if they got backup, that's when I start getting a little concerned, I guess.
Honestly, also kind of realistic. Also,
Yeah.
not a subversion of Skyrim, as I have myself been beat the shit out by bandits at low levels because, there's like 2 giant sword guys and 3 shooty boys behind me just, beat the shit out of you while you're not looking.
Yeah, but also it's a way easier to get into the stealth archer build in Skyrim.
No, true. Like Skyrim's bits obviously is like you don't ever have to get into a straight up fight because you see a bandit cap, you just, crouch and just kill everybody. But yeah, it's interesting to think that like that is another thing that is technically realistic of like, hey, don't get ganged up on, actually. That is very bad for you.
So I'm still plugging away at it. I haven't played Outlaws as much because, well, like I said, I'm like I got the itch to get the and like I said, it's fun. Like the armor layering is great. Like in Kingdom Come Deliverance 1. Like I don't know how it is in 2, and you don't have to explain it to me right now. I'll get there eventually. But like you have like I'm looking at the inventory screen right now. You have 4 slots in your head. You can wear a necklace, then you can wear something cloth, something chain, and then like something plate on top of that. I'm wearing like a dark padded coif. I'm wearing a full male cowl goes over the head, over my neck a bit, and then the bell shaped kettle helm, which I love. I kind of want one myself. Looks like it's great for keeping the rain out of your fucking eyes. Not
no,
quite
the
as
kettle
big as a
helm
wizard
design
hat.
is like very classy.
Yeah.
It's not quite the exact same, but like this is a design that came back for like a lot of World War I helmets. Where like, what do we need? Wide brim.
Yeah. No. Like on my chest, like actually here, let me pull it up here. Let's see here. On my chest, I'm wearing a dark Saxon gambeson. I have a hauberk, short sleeve, not long sleeve, black hood, and then the light brigadine. Also have riveted gauntlets and riveted pauldrons. On my legs, I'm wearing quiet dark shoes because I kind of mix my armor set with my stealth with carbonation. I mix my armor set with my stealth set, so generally I can just take off all my armors. Boom! I become the knight. I usually have to switch my gauntlets though to my gloves though, so I can cover up my white ass hands.
Honestly, also
but yeah, so
pretty normal, realistic, and approachable.
Mm-hmm.
You take off the Klangund clappers for, sneaky work.
No, and it's like it's fun, and there's like a lot of little buffs and stuff you can do. Like the reason why my maintenance is so high is because I use a lot of maintenance to get like specific buffs. Because much like how in Skyrim is, once you like hit like certain level, you get perk points, and you use those perk points to do like specific things. Like you can have 7-mile boots. If you're wearing boots that you repair yourself, sprinting will cost you 20 less stamina, so it's good. Savile Row, every clothing you wearing that you've repaired adds 0.5 to charisma, up to a maximum of +2. Doesn't apply to armor. Stuffing, when you repair your own armor, you're able to pad it so it doesn't jangle as much, keeping down the noise and helping your stealth ability. So, Welgrim, the attire you have on will suffer 15% less wear and tear. So, like, there's a lot of, like, little, like, stuff you can do in here, and it really is, like, I think, the thing that probably upsets me the most is you can't actually, like, forge or blacksmith anything in the game. Right now, I heard people say you can do it in 2, like you can do actual crafting and stuff, which I am excited for. But I guess Henry right now is not too concerned about that, as he has, he has things on his mind. Oh, alchemy is hard. I've tried it a couple times. I'm not good at it. I have not successfully made a potion yet. Like, you have to have the recipe, but you have to, like, pour in things, boil things, grind things, dump them in. You have to, like, flip a timer.
Yeah, I mean, that's realistic, but also, yeah, that's it's gonna be a pain in the ass, especially considering that, as we previously discussed, this guy couldn't read before the story started. Now you've got him out here doing chemistry with some wise.
Yeah, no, you, like I said, you can pick up chemistry, like you become an alchemist, you can gather herbs, you can become a healer. Like, that's not his own skill set, but in the main perks you get from gaining full levels, you can get first aid, and if you get up to 3 first aid, it basically says, let's see, what does it say here for it? First aid 3. Bandages are 50% more effective. For a village boy, you're quite the sawbones. The perk opens up the most advanced dialogues and options and dialogues connected with healing. So yes, if you become that good at healing, you can actually reference that into in story, heal people and help them out. And this does, matter in some areas.
Right now I only have first aid 2 because I'm not high enough level. When can I get first aid 3? I do want it. 10? What am I right now? 9? I'm almost there. Yes, I need to keep Haunted alive because he's kind of a dumbass. I love him, but he's a dumbass. He's my himbo. So it's a good, fun game. Like, it has its jank and it has its frustration, but there's a lot of love and care and a lot of research done into it. They have like an entire codex explaining a lot of like medieval society. Like, they were talking about like, I remember we were talking about Rain. You were talking about how, I forgot her name already, son of a bitch. But the person part of Enos' backstory who taught him, courtesan's fortune and whatnot, part of the Laundresses Guild and like all that stuff, and you were explaining that. I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, it just mentions that here about like baths and bath maids and how bathhouses actually got stupid fucking popular and how they eventually got associated with prostitution and stuff. They talk
there's
about
a couple of periods in real life that are like that.
Yeah. They talk a lot about, they have a lot of codex entries about explaining, people's roles, how society worked, how things worked. And it's like it's been really informative. And so it's like, it's definitely like one of those things I want to say, like, if you want to like get, like, you want to pick your rain brain a little bit, like with society and function and like looks and stuff, like, I would highly suggest doing it and just like reading how things are. Like, oh, let's see here.
Sorry, I had to cough because I pulled up my PS Plus. There it is. Do I need to... Okay, now we add to library. That's right, it is the cross-gen, so it's like... Well, it says 84 gigs. Is it actually 80 gigs?
No, it says 84 gigs because it's combining the gigs
PS5
for both versions.
and PS4, okay. I think I got space for the 60. We'll stick it in there. I'll go ahead and run the download.
But
I coughed, by the way, because one of this month's monthly games is the cross-gen version of Modern Warfare 3, the new one. That is 225 gigabytes minimum, and it is not multi-version, and that's why I coughed. So, yeah, fuck you, Activision. No, not even for free. I don't got that much fucking space.
But
in this economy?
But no, like, I learned about how, like, executioners, like, that was something I was actually thinking about. Is like, I don't know if we've actually explained, like, executioners and their role in Reign. I feel like that's one of those things that we kind of glossed over. Like, do we have an executioner in fucking, Stonehearth?
Yeah, probably. You should employ. It's in some of the backstory with, like, Ifilter Iron Tusk was the king's executioner.
Mm-hmm.
He has a giant sword. So, like, there is a history of it. It's not a formal King's Council position because it's one of those things that's like politically, it's socially important to have a guy, but when you're not executing criminals, that guy needs to do other stuff. So it's probably a sub-role.
Well, they actually explained that about what like executioners actually did besides killing people. Like, let me see here, executioner. I'll actually read out the the codex so you can see what they kind of say. Executioner. The profession of executioner dates back to ancient Egypt and Rome, reappearing in Europe in the 13th century. Before this, capital punishment was meted out by judges themselves, or the prosecutors or relatives of the condemned, or other persons as suited. It was only with the advent of the executioner that all tasks were under his remit. Although the executioner, by his profession, came into considerable money and it was a status symbol for a town to have its own, the hangman or headsman would be a social outcast. For an honest citizen to make any contact with an executioner was to lose respect, and the executioner himself had to endure a lot of discriminatory measures, sitting at a separate place in the church, and at the end, not taking part of social functions and celebrations, etc. Whoops, hang on one second. The executioner took charge of punishments such as hanging, breaking knees, quarterings, burning, and torturing, drawn by horses or beheading. He had his assistant, henchmen, who helped him with preparation and took away the bodies that they executed. Other tasks done by the executioner included the role of the knacker, who cleared away animal cadavers, caught stray dogs, and even sometimes just cleaned up filth from the streets. The executioner might also oversee the town brothel, was somewhat familiar with surgery, could set broken bones and dislocated limbs, or amputate them in case of gangrene. Sometimes the executioner sold articles directly related to the execution to the superstitious, for example, the hanging rope, the hangman's fingers, or amulets made from his hair. So, like, I was looking at that, I was like, that's a lot of information.
Yeah, that's pretty in-depth. That's good. I like that. That's the kind of thing I would... Talking also about, designing Reign of, like... sometimes you get a little deep dive.
No, so it's like there's a lot of
like
there's a
literally
lot of,
making
like,
that question. It's like, yeah, no, I mean, obviously not every culture is gonna correlate exactly to that, but it's like, so that doesn't sound like executioner would be a gilded. It's not a trade you take up as a profession to get money.
No, it's probably
but you
someone
do probably
who's...
have a little cadre of executioner and his head, the headsman and his henchman. Great to learn that's the etymology of hench, hanging around to take care of stuff.
No, so it's like, again, like, I like it because it, like, helps me stimulate my ideas for, like, rain and stuff. Because I'm just like, yes, I see. Makes me, like, ask questions. Like, like I said, the most notable one is, like, do we have an executioner? What's executioner's light in rain? Because we are a bit further in the thing. I don't know when the role of executioner was abolished.
Well, there was still there's still a royal executioner in the French Revolution, so it's pretty late socially. Like, you guys have not yet gone through, like, Enlightenment exactly.
No, and I said we did hang some motherfuckers, so that probably, we probably did,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you do have a hangman.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would suspect that, like, it's probably a little too bloody and personal to have your executioner normally go in for, the classic executionarial sword.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's probably a cultural thing in certain places, but I suspect most places is like, no, hanging's a lot, clean and simple. Even though it can be, most forms of execution can be quite gnarly. It's just that, going for a simple neck hang and hope the neck breaks can be pretty simple and relatively bloodless without necessarily needing to go in again for, like, you got to pin a guy down and let a big old dude with a burlap sack and an axe do the talking. The interesting, like, it's always funny. Like, obviously, I think that is something to think about. The executioner of, like, yeah, you should have a headsman or again a hangman, around to do that, because we did talk about hanging criminals. That's a thing there, and like you said, like, or rather, like I said after you brought that up, I was like, probably not a, like, trade guild, because it's an oddball profession. There's not enough for it to be a gilded rate, but it's the kind of thing that you need to have lying around. But then I'm also thinking about, like, the interesting thing about the extra stuff you did of, like, oh, so the executioner is, like, your discount surgeon if you don't want to go to a surgeon for any reason, or, you need an amputation fast. But also the idea of, like, oh, the knacker, which I've heard of the knackers before, you removing dead animals, but, like, that's a henchman under the headsman. Is like, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. No, that's why I say, like, that's why I'm enjoying, like I said, I'm enjoying this. I'm learning little things, and it's stimulating the rain brain. Like I said, not to say that we're done with Deathwatch. I'm still vibing.
No, we're having fun. Yeah. I need to... I've been sick, so sadly, no Deathwatch. It's my bad. I say that half joking, because obviously I was, like, mentally checking myself all day, and it was at one point I was like, no, I think I'm the most feverish I've been my entire sickness that day. I don't think I can commit to 4 hours. I think my brain's gonna melt. But I did feel bad also about it, and about skipping Resident Evil later too. It's like, man, we'll get in there. I'm hoping to get back to finishing Deathwatch, but yeah, I'm downloading Deliverance 1 right now, because it's not actually 80 gigs. We'll put it in my pocket. I probably won't boot it up until we get back to Rain, but that is something I have been thinking about, is, like, the transition zone, right? Of, like, okay, how am I gonna ratchet my brain back around? Because you guys do have pretty defined goals for your next step in, your next step in Rain is you're gonna pop up to A and do some other stuff, but after that it's gonna be, okay, we gotta lock into a campaign,
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully get a couple of decisive battles in, but that'll be one to figure out. I wanted to say fligure out for some reason.
Oh, flig out. Just flig.
But yeah, I am pretty sure I knew, that, like, KCD was known for a lot of, like, it's pretty decent, medieval background and the like. But I do always think that's a fun thing about video games. Like, obviously, world building for fictional worlds with all the, like, codex features and all that stuff is really cool. Just still thinking about how sick it was that you would just push a button mid-cutscene in Final Fantasy 16 and be like, who the fuck am I talking about? What's going on? When was this? What's this place?
Oops.
Did this change the relationship map? Yes, look at my colored string. Great feature. More games need that. But, yeah, like, it's funny to hear that about a historical fiction video game as well. Like, that's cool to actually pick up on real life stuff, even though that can, of course, go back into fiction because, fiction and real life are actually interlinked, even if they are not the same.
Like I said, the setting and many of the characters are based off of real locations and real people. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I'm excited. I'm going to keep playing it.
Yep. Anything else about KCD you want to bring up? See, I feel like I'm saying KCD now to avoid possibly saying Kingdom Hearts Deliverance.
I'm probably going to start saying KCD as well.
Started memeing.
But no, I do not think there is anything left, really. Like I said, the story is good. I do like the story. Like I said, it's pretty good, and Henry is kind of interesting. He's not like no man of great intellect or wit, but, he's trying to get something done, and just kind of rolls with the punches as he's going. Although he's definitely a dumbass sometimes. But like I said, I enjoy the story, so definitely want to get more to it.
Well, that does actually work as a little bit of a segue. Saguaro. Because I mentioned of obviously, being a little down with the sickness. But, kind of talking about what have I been doing with my game time? Have I also been playing Star Wars Outlaws? No. I have been ill, so getting shot by stormtroopers has not been high on my list of things. But I decided to, do the go back to an old favorite, and I booted up a game I've owned. Technically, I owned it twice, but I've been playing a lot of a little video game called Cook Serve Delicious. So, Cook Serve Delicious, which also involves a C and a D, but there's an S in there. The first one, the game is originally from 2012. So it's pretty old, but it's been released everywhere. It's on like PS5 now, Switch. I also own it on Steam, but I've been replaying it on my PS5. And it is actually, I didn't think about it until I was like scrolling through my installed games while ill, and was like, oh yeah, I've got Cook Serve Delicious installed. But it is a game that harkens back to something that you and I have talked about a decent amount, which is a game that is in fact just about cooking. It is a restaurant simulator. I believe that some of the sequels, there's 3 of them now, do stuff like, going for more of like a food stall or like a food truck type effect. They kind of change up their gameplay a little and involve a few new things. They add some extra detail each time. But the fundamental simplicity of it is, in Cook Serve Delicious, you open a new restaurant and you gotta make it to money. You make it to money by serving dishes, fulfilling orders. You also have side tasks, where you, how do you say, you run through, work tickets around the restaurant. Sometimes you got a toilet that's clogged, you gotta fix, you gotta throw out your trash bins, you gotta wash your dishes, you've gotta set mouse traps. Very rarely, because you are in an urban center somewhere, you'll get robbed at gunpoint and have to describe the guy later.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah, no, your life's not at risk, just the criminal just, takes your money, but then it's like, it gives you a list of things to describe, so you have to hold on, fighting a sneeze, it would go away. Okay, I think it's just gonna fade. It'll sneak it back up on me in 5 minutes, but, they just give you basically the composite sketch effect, and you gotta, match the text description to what's going on, just like you match, an order. I'm glad it happens very rarely, especially once you buy the theft protection power-up, because it's just a real pain in the ass, because it takes a long-ass time to, flick through all the options and build the guy's face. And so far, the times I've been robbed in this run have all been in the middle of one of my rush hours. You have a rush hour around lunch and a rush hour around dinner. So, I got shit to cook, okay? I can't be bothering with this fucking guy's composite sketch, all right? There's 5 people here who all want me to pour them a beer and cook them a pizza. It can be on keyboard, but I've mostly played it myself on controller and even on Steam. And I kind of like the controller controls. But basically, the way you do stuff is every food has a certain action associated with it. Some of them are pretty simple. Fried chicken or fries are just you dunk the basket in the oil, right? You hold it until smoke starts to come up, you pop it up, you put it in the bowl. Some items you can give toppings to. But, it's mostly just hold down on stick until fried, don't over fry, put it in the bowl, serve it. Sorry, had to blow my nose after the sneeze fizzled. Other items are more complicated. They have multiple steps. some things, you have to cook to prep. So like burgers or pancakes, right? You put them on the griddle to cook, then you come back to put all the rest of the toppings on them. Other items are cooked to completion. So like soup and lasagna, you build the recipe before you cook it, and then once it's done cooking, you just push the button to serve and it's served,
Mm-hmm.
So, you have a wide variety of different mechanisms to handle stuff. Some items are considered snacks, so they aren't, requested during rush hour, so that can kind of like change your economy. During rush hour, you get a shitload of customers like twice a day. There's a wide variety of different upgrades, and one of the things I like is that you do also, most of your food can be upgraded. This increases its menu price, but also, like, it makes it more complicated but more valuable, and also adds cooler stuff. So, like, pancakes, for instance, you can upgrade, like, I think 2 or 3 times total. Each time you do adds a new syrup. So you start with just like, I think it's twice, and you start with just like maple and strawberry syrup and butter. Yes, sometimes people are weirdos and will order pancakes no syrup, just butter. And sometimes they'll order just syrup, no butter. And then there's one recipe card that's always just the lonely pancake, which is literally just one pancake with nothing on it.
Very lonely.
Most recipe, like, they say when you purchase the food, it comes with recipe cards. Most recipes have something like that. It's like the most basic, I think the burger is like the lonely burger, just meat and bun. But like, so, every time you upgrade it, you add new ones. So you can add blueberry syrup, you can add pecan syrup at the end. You can purchase and then upgrade the humble breakfast sandwich, which starts with just like egg, sausage, bacon, but then you add cheese and ham, so then you've got a whole bunch of different recipes that work off different combos of that. Up to, from just like, just egg, just sausage, etc., all the way to the Mega Biscuit, one of everything, please.
Ooh.
So, like, you go through all these, back and forths. And they can get pretty complicated, like, you don't have to cook, there's no timer on ice cream, for instance, but the fully loaded ice cream has, like, 6 toppings and 4 different flavors. Vanilla chocolate, mint chocolate, and butter pecan. So you can get, like, combinations of any of those 1 to 3 scoops, and then, like I said, 6 different toppings. So it can get a little reflexy, it can get a little muscle memory-y. Others are simple, like I said. Fried chicken's real easy. There's literally nothing you put on it. You just dunk the fried chicken in the basket and then throw it out. Like, technically, fries, it's very funny the way this game, like, scales up, right? My fries are worth more on my menu than my fried chicken is, because the maximum level is sweet potato fries, which can include a combination of salt, sea salt, and sugar. So, like, you have to pay attention to what's being recipeed. They are working on a remaster of the original called Remastered. It's great. One thing I hope they fix is maybe some of the mechanics. The thing that's probably I've got that I think is like the best moneymaker if they order the right kind is wine, which is just they add new rarities of wine that go higher and higher in price. But the mechanics for wine are just select the correct bottle, tap circle a shitload to get the cork out. So obviously that can be very repetitive motion, when you're really trying to cycle through some stuff. I just kept talking through. Lucky talking is an aside, but then I immediately had a little dry throat. Let me take my water real quick. Glug my wine real life. The joke, by the way, it's just water. It's just tap water. We got a wholesale filter. It's just water straight out of the tap. Water's good for you. Though I will say there are some very funny mechanics with this upgrade system, chat. Aside from the fact that like you can serve alcohol, and so there are bonuses. You generate what's called more buzz, which affects like how likely you are to get tips and how many customers you get. So like if you put breakfast foods in, you'll get more buzz in the morning, and then it goes away kind of later at night. Like it slows down. This does not stop people. If your only like dinner item that can be served at rush hour is pancakes or breakfast sandwich or hash browns, you will get 9 million 6 o'clock pancake orders. Which personally, I don't mind. Pancakes are pretty easy. They're pretty simple and straightforward, and I think the maximum price is like $12 per serving. But you can put alcohol. So if I pick beer as my daily special, you will get a lot of people. I think I open at 10 a.m. every day, maybe 9 a.m. every day. You'll get some motherfuckers in there who are like, "Hey, buddy, need my 9:30 beer." Sorry, a cough snuck up on me. So yeah, and like. You'll also get people at 10 o'clock at night, as literally the restaurant closes. I think it might actually be 10 to 10, yeah, because it's 12 hours. But if you have open orders, the restaurant doesn't close right away at 10. You don't kick people out. So it's like I will get people who will order just coffee black at 9:59 at night. They're like, night shift, buddy, huh? So yeah, you get funny stuff like that. But you can get some very goofy combos, which is you can get soda fountain. It's got 5 flavors. You've got cola, tea, grape, water, diet. One of your upgrades is the upgrade you get unlocks the jumbo size and also activates the flavor boost syrup. So you will get motherfuckers who will order fountain drink water with flavor boost. My brother in Christ, what is the flavor? What are we boosting? I also don't hear Lucky talking in the background, so I don't know if he's actually still. Yeah, he's muted. Okay, that's why he's away. Lucky probably still heard me say that, but he's not. He is actually away to comment. I can see he's muted. Yeah, but yeah, they want that ultra water. So it's got some very funny stuff, but there's a wide variety of foods. There's specialty foods I haven't even cracked. You can get some, some classic Spanish dishes. You can do nachos. I kind of don't like nachos because those nachos are weird because they're sometimes you gotta cook because they might want meat or ground beef or fajitas or shrimp on it, so you gotta cook that first. Then you gotta put fucking. If you're interested in this game, check it out. I think they're all on sale on Steam right now. 75% off for all 3 of them, so you can pick up several of them. I can't comment on 2 or 3 yet. I personally have not played them. I do have them on my PlayStation and Steam wish list, so I will probably get around to them eventually, but it's probably a pretty good Steam Deck game. Yeah, they've got a bundle, so if you're interested in this kind of thing, check it out. The other thing that I think is for us is a little sad, it has local co-op, possibly up to 4 people and split screen and stuff. You can probably do the Steam share play stuff with that, maybe. But there's not normal online co-op. So we cannot quite yet do our dream of just running a restaurant to run a restaurant. Yeah, Remastered is supposed to come out sometime this year. I literally just added it to my Steam wish list. But it has local co-op and shared play and can even have some versus Battle Kitchen stuff. It has not got, as far as I know, online multiplayer, which is a little sad because, like I said, the Studio Mega players, we've tried a lot of restaurant games, and usually there's a little bit of a something in it, Plate Up is super cool, but it is a roguelite, so it's procedurally generated. They might have also made Brew Pub Simulator. I know it's in a bundle, but it could also just be similar games together. Overcooked is not actually a cooking game. It's a fucking rage simulator. It's a Mario Party minigame, except instead of fucking your friends, you're just killing yourselves. Okay, it's just a bundle, but you can get a bundle. Yeah. But Cook Serve Delicious is just a game where you make food, and like I said, sometimes the recipes drive me up the wall. Nachos are a little tricky. There's a couple others that are I just can't run too many of them at the same time in the menu. You do sometimes have to change your menu up. Something can happen called menu rot, where your items will generate negative buzz if they're on your menu too long. You got to rotate them. Some foods are staples, so they're always good, but you can rotate through a couple different ones. So I like to personally alternate because they will get menu rot between say breakfast sandwich for a couple days, then switch that for pancakes and then back. But on the one hand, you can make a lot of money if you bundle all your highly upgraded foods. So I can make decent cash if I put my burgers, my pizzas, my soups, my wine, my salads. Actually, no, my salad, probably my lasagna all in one. But then you'll get rush hour where motherfuckers are asking for all 6 of my slots are filled up with hey, here's a pizza with 5 things on it that's got to cook, and I want a soup that's got 12 ingredients in it. Well, they probably experienced COVID crunch and delay. That's why they decided to shift it to Remastered. But like I said, I highly recommend it. There are bonus events you can do. There are catering challenges where you can only get X orders wrong. There's the Iron Cook challenge, which is Iron Chef but different, stuff like that. So there's a whole variety of these things, and it's like I said, it's pretty fun. There's a steady system of upgrading, and there are foods in specialist foods and stuff I haven't even unlocked. I will say it's a little grindy to make money because stuff can get pretty expensive pretty fast. But let me look at my buying foods. A normal, I haven't bought baked potatoes, fish, chicken breasts, or steak. So that's probably a whole thing. There's also specialty foods. There's sushi, kebabs, lobster. You can make fried rice and enchiladas. Banana Foster's on this list. And then these can all have, like, upgrades. And like I said, they're all pretty old, so, like, Patron Chat being like, oh, these are all Steam Deck verified. Yeah, no, like, if you like, you know, not quite cozy, because, again, the rush hours can get a little demanding, but you can pick and choose your items on your menu. Like, if you like games that are about, like, cooking and kind of, like, memory and reflex, and you just gotta, like, hang out and cook foods, it's fun. And like I said, you get to explore a lot of different food. You get to do, like, linear upgrades. There's, like, in the first game, there's a whole, like, optional subplot of dating where, like, you can, you know, once you get your restaurant enough stars, you can choose to join a dating app for chefs. You can choose whether or not you want to date men or women. Poke myself in the nose. Also, Lucky, I think your mic end is still muted, even if you're unmuting on Discord.
Sorry, I forgot.
That's okay. I saw you come back and I saw a couple of sound light up. But yeah, there's a dating subplot, so you get to pick who you want to date. And how you date is, if you want to date this person, they'll send you an email. Every day you get emails. And if you agree, you gotta, they're like, I'd love if you made for me a certain food. So, you know, you gotta put in a food and then make it for them. And then they text you later. Like, there's lots of funny little things. Now that I'm at, like, 3 stars, I've got into, it's kind of funny how, like, 2012 the first game is. I've got into, like, Cook Starter, which is just Kickstarter. So you can fund little things, which may or may not trigger. I'm really glad that I got a sponge. We successfully Cook-started a sponge that makes dishwashing super easy. It's like 2 swipes per dish, because, you know, you're spamming buttons. But yeah, it's like a fun time, like I said. I think the only thing that's, like, I hardly recommend this game. It's been, like, a thing I've just been kind of, like, zoning out and slamming away at again while sick. The only thing against, like bringing it up to the group is, like, it does have local co-op, but it doesn't have online co-op. I kind of wish I could get this similar effect, but also could get some friends, like, you know, managing different cook stations and stuff. Because I think that would be pretty up our alley.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Sorry, I feel like as I switched back into yap mode there, it's making my nose run a little. Not on my notes, but you could probably do, like, the Steam SharePlay thing, but there might be some lag. I don't know 100% how it works. Might be something to look at sometime. Not on my notes, but something talking about playing as a group, something I did check out, because I'd been seeing some Supermarket Simulator videos lately. I did double check some of the updates. They got a new layout, which is pretty interesting. The plaza, which includes an outdoor plaza that you can, it's like part of your store, so you can do decorations out there. Has a side alley where you get deliveries and stuff. And they're looking at bringing in more updates, and it looks like they've overhauled a lot of, like, the unlock tree and stuff. So if we ever feel like Supermarket Togethering, that's a thing that's been updating, doing cool stuff. But yeah, that's what I got about the Cook and the Servant and the Delicious-ing. And once again, like, all 3 of the games are on the Steam sale, like, right now. They're also on, like, Nintendo Switch and PlayStation. I cannot vouch for the Nintendo Switch versions, but the PlayStation ones also go on sale sometimes. That's when I picked up the first one. So, again, check them out. I will probably not play that after we're done here, because that kind of works as a little dovetail for the next thing on my list, which is, Omega, watched an anime. I know, shocking.
Gasp.
I used to watch more anime. I don't watch it as much, but there's a new anime coming out this core that's kind of mission critical. And so I did watch it. Lucky, did you watch the first episode of Ghost in the Shell?
I have not watched it yet, no.
Okay.
It is on my to-do list.
Yes, I won't go into plot detail, but yeah, I watched it. Maybe I'll have time before next week, after Lucky watches it, to also watch it subbed. I watched it dubbed as a first pass, because when the episode came out, I was still feeling a little ill, so it was like, okay, my reading skills might be a little impaired. Though, even in English, there are some flash subtitles. No, all new cast. In English, the major is Suzy Young, who is also Yuffie in the new FF7 trilogy. Which, by the way, pretty funny contrast. Good range to do, you know, Yuffie's sort of energetic gremlin energy, and then switch to Motoko as, like, still gremlin associated, but, like, not necessarily changing her tone, but more like, you know, highly put upon professional woman.
Mm-hmm.
But I am also interested in the, like I said, in the sub, because obviously, if you don't know, unfortunately, the Major's original voice actress,
Atsuko Tanaka.
passed away. So they've had Maya Sakamoto in the role, who previously did the kind of younger major in Ghost in the Shell Arise. I also did not give the Arise dub a pass. I only watched a couple episodes of Arise before I kind of fell out of it, because it was not bad, but it was clearly kind of doing its own thing. But I think tapping Sakamoto for the role is a pretty good one. I watched all of 2045, yeah. I don't think Lucky's watched the second half yet.
No, it's on my to-do list, as is many things.
It's on Netflix, so it's a little trickier for Lucky to grab.
For me, yeah.
I know what you're asking this, Axe. I mean, I'll go to the point. I was also thinking about Ghost in the Shell because Dungeon Chill did a huge franchise retrospective. And in it, Dungeon Chill, by the way, YouTuber, does some very long video retrospectives that I like, especially about like old school Japanese stuff you can't access, but also does some other retro games. Personally, I think he's a little too harsh on 2045. He didn't like it too much. Mostly for the back half, so that's like, I can't necessarily talk about too much of that stuff with Lucky, but I think it's a little too harsh. Like, personally, if I'm going to armchair psychologize, yeah, he just sounds like he's a little disappointed that it wasn't, like, actually third gig, basically. Like, wasn't quite to the same, like, quality and presentation from Studio IG, and, like, just kind of let down because it should be the continuation of a really phenomenal entry in the franchise from, standalone Complex. I do personally kind of agree that, like, I think the front half of 2045 is more interesting. The back half goes much harder on the post-human thing, and that's, like, neat. But I think, like, the global default and, like, the time the guys were fucking around as mercenaries in America was more interesting. I also think that, like, I gotta say this. I am pretty sure that 2045 definitely doesn't have as many strong standalone stories, because I think there are a few standalone episodes, but I don't remember many of them. I will also say, like, because we're talking about it, Dungeon Chill also didn't like the, like, 3D CG art style. I prefer the 2D, but I think of Dungeon Chill as a member of a lot of YouTube channels that do really big videos about really old school video games, like Mandalore Gaming, Grimbeard, and stuff. A lot of these videos we talk about how, like, some people say, the art style's, outdated and ugly, and it's like, it's got charm. I'm like, if you're not picky about video game graphics, I wouldn't be too picky about, like, CG 3D animation. 2045 is not, like, the most polished. I know that Japan has struggled with kind of, like, 3D CG stuff, but I don't think it's awful.
I liked it.
Yeah. Like, it is, is the wonder of cinematography that is the Oshi film, and then, the beautiful work of standalone Complex better? Yeah, but it's alright. Like, 2045 is alright. I don't know, like, Axe brought this up. I think the PSP game was, like, actually bad. There was a Ghost in the Shell first-person shooter PSP game that he played, like, before that. So, like, I think that may have also tilted him a little, because, like, he did the whole retrospective and took notes. But, yeah, sorry, that was a slight distraction, but I also mentally pre-prepped for that one. The new series, real good shit. And I think it's interesting to talk about kind of, like, the different actresses in the presentation of Motoko, because there are some people who are, like, latecomers who are like, oh, this new thing's, like, ruining the major, and it's like, no, you don't understand. Masamune Shiro's original vision is the major as a put-upon career woman who, like, drinks beers and has sex and stuff, and her deep existential crisis is, like, the afterthought. Most people remember the Oshi film, which is our next planned movie night. And in fact, I'll say this, we should decide right now. We're going to watch Mamoru Oshi's Ghost in the Shell, dubbed or subbed?
I would like subbed.
All right. I was thinking it would be subbed. That will be a little trickier, because you're gonna have to do full attention. But I'm okay with it because I think like I said, I've watched part of it, like recorded most of it off of like a sci-fi channel airing. That was definitely a dub. So we can fire off sub.
No, like I said, I haven't seen the full movie, so I'll be in there.
Yeah. So. Maybe a little weird, but definitely, like, I think you can say for sure. Oh, and I should say this, talking about Masamune Shiro himself, I do like to bring this up because this is a joke that's been going around. The writer of the new anime, and I should mention, the anime is confirmed for only 10 episodes.
Okay.
So I think we can be pretty sure that it is probably going to be a fairly direct adaptation of the first volume of the original manga, which is not that long. There's 3 volumes of Ghost in the Shell. The second one is more of a like just anecdotes, basically the stuff that like would go on to inspire standalone episode plots. And then the third one's man-machine interface, which is like, then we actually get a little cool, freaky. This does mean that the new anime should probably end up somewhere similar to the Oshi film, where it should have its own crack at the Puppet Master arc, but, you know, it'll be at the end. But yes, the main writer and director has said that he has, he has built a little shrine and praise for spiritual guidance from Masamune Shiro, because Shiro-san is notably kind of a recluse. He just kind of stays in his lane. He will consult on, like, adaptations of his work, but he's also perfectly fine to just let people work. But this also means that I've seen a lot of people making jokes about, like, just making cracks about, like, obviously he's too busy drawing hentai of slim, greased-up women to consult. Because that's what he does, actually. He's still in erotica. But, yeah. Anyway, I've watched the first episode. I did watch it dubbed. And it's pretty good. I think it's a little weird, like, hearing a brand new cast, but they're all doing pretty good job. I think it does kind of match up a little. Like I said, the only thing that's a little tough, and will be a little tough also watching Oshi's Ghost in the Shell subbed, is Richard Epcar fucking kills it as Bato in English. He's like one of the few who's been around a lot, because he was in the original, like, dub of Mamoto Oshii, and then obviously Innocence, but also stayed on for Standalone Complex. He's crazy good as Bato. So, like, obviously getting a new guy in is going to be a little weird, but I think everybody does a pretty good job. And like I said, I want to check in with the sub as well. I just haven't gotten around to it. But the new anime by Science Saru is, like, way more inspired by the art style of the manga, which means that it is unapologetically super 80s.
Yes, no, I've seen the images.
Like, it's crazy 80s, and I'm all here for it. Like, the deliberate retro clone style is, like, really cool. Like, the drawing of the Major as she appears at the end of episode 1 in, like, a fucking, pinstriped button-up shirt, looking like she's fucking Spike Spiegel, is, like, that's so 80s, but it's really good. There's, like, at least one shot that's, like, looks like a pretty clear homage to the original Blade Runner, of, like, sweeping background scenes. The color palette is, like, all very 80s, so, like, it's really cool, and it's just, like, such a breath of fresh air to be like, oh, hell yeah. Like, this deliberate retro callback. Like I said, there's been some people who are kind of, like, trying to, like, because it's more colorful, because it's more exaggerated. Boy, howdy is it exaggerated. We have, once again, absolutely preserved Shiro's original facial expressions, which...
No, I've seen the Gremlin Major face. I'm like, yes.
No, the Major has a much more broad range of expression, which is, again, more true to her character. Like, Oshi's version, well, I mean, we're going to watch it to compare, but, like, his is more, like, kind of the Major at the end of this professional arc where, like, she's got to, like, reinvent herself and kind of, like, be metaphysically reborn. Masamune Shiro's version is just like, yeah, the Major's a full-body cyborg, but she's still a person, so like I said, she still drinks beer, go on vacation, has sex. In the manga, she has both a boyfriend at points, but also, has lesbian orgies.
The Major fucks. The Major is always fucked.
Absolutely, yes. That scene is not going to be in the anime in full, but the writers were asked about it and did say, we had to adjust the scene to fit the TV ratings. Because this is on Japanese TV. They did censor some of the blood and gore, and it was, like, a little off-putting at first, but also it's very stylized, so I'm, like, kind of okay with it. They do kind of, like, a digital blur effect. So, like, you get the impact, but also it's not literally, giant pools of blood. It's kind of, like I said, like, kind of, like, big chunky pixels, almost like computer interference. But, like, it's not just the Major, but also, like, there are some big-ass cyborg guys who are, like, doing, like, very cartoony expressions, like, as they, like, focus their cybernetic eyes, they get big cartoon veins. There's a shot of, like, one of the Fuchikomas, like, running from, like, explosions where, like, this spider tank does not have a mouth, but it is drawn with a mouth screaming, tongue out, Like, it's so stylized, like, top to bottom, and I'm like, this is such a great breath of fresh air. I think it's really good, and it really, like, it stands on its own. If you like Standalone Complex, if you like the Mamoru Oshii films, those still exist. Those are still great adaptations. I believe Masamune Shirow was consulted on both, so, like, they're still, like, true to form, but they're doing different things, both stylistically and you know, plot-wise. The new Science Star adaptation is, like, it's a real breath of fresh air, and I think it will stand on its own, like, long-term. And it is kind of doing that thing that I think you do see a few times more frequently this in recent decades, is of, like, no, this is an adaptation that cleaves closer to the manga. But, like, yeah, no, the Major's a fucking little gremlin. She's a little rat. Actually, I think technically she's kind of a, you know, I think her spirit animal will be more of a monkey. At one point, Ishikawa does the classic line of, like, you know, the female gorilla we've got in charge has our balls in a vice. I heard that. Sorry, I mean, you're a lovely lady. You know, they've got the bants. The gang still has the bants. You love to see it. We got all the boys. It's great. But, like, it's just, there's so much artistry, like, not quite every frame of painting, but, like, all the expressions are really good, you know, all the action stuff has been pretty cool. There's some very stylized shit they do, like, at one point, one of the enemies does, like a LiDAR, you know, sensor vision, so they, like, do all the little lines coming out, you know, like filters and stuff. There's all the different cyber stuff. But it's got, like, serious tones, but also lighter tones. It works really well. Like, there's a recurring, you know, plot thread that the Major is distracted throughout the first episode, that she's had some new implants run, so she has a loose audio wire, which is probably one of the expressions you've seen on the internet of her just, you know, pounding a fist on her own head because she's got a fucking loose connection in there. Which, by the way, for full-body cybernetics, sounds annoying as fuck. Can you imagine having a loose... You've got new ears wired and you have a fucking loose connection? Like, you've got it, like your headphone jack is loose, and just, how the fuck do you fix that? It's in your brain.
On your head.
Look, he's dying. No, but, like, it's real good. I'm looking forward to the future episodes and talking more in detail, but you know, some of the styling decisions. And like I said, I do also want to check it out. Subed. I have great attachment to the original dub of Standalone Complex because that's how I watched it in Adult Swim, and also Ghost in the Shell is one of those animes that's, like, it's a little easier to parse in English because I can follow along with a lot of the stuff they're saying and understand the words. But if you want to read subtitles, I can also totally track that, because then you can at least see what they're talking about with your eyeballs. I've referenced before that one of my favorite moments from Standalone Complex is the scene where I mean, you also watch with subtitles so you can read along, but like I said, you know, if you're watching subbed with sub, then you're following along. But one of my favorite scenes in Standalone Complex is where Major is talking to Aoi, the Laughing Man, and, like, Director Aramaki comes in off screen and he's like, "Hey, I've been here for a while, but I can't follow your fucking conversation without an external memory plugged in. If I don't have Google, I can't understand what the hell you're saying." And I'm like, that's so true to Ghost in the Shell. Because, like, I don't want to say that, like, it's the original manga is, like, all goofs and gags, right? Like, Shiro has some very serious themes, but oftentimes he relegates it to, like, footnotes, you know? It's a very footnote-heavy manga. No, there's, like, psychics and shit in the original, too. It's very 80s cyberpunk, the original manga. And I saw a great tweet, I think I saw it earlier, but I saw it again just today, which is, like, the original manga's from, like, 1989. I think dial-up internet, like, started that year. Japan didn't get, like, internet service providers until, like, 1992, so, like, Shiro was very forward-thinking.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, Ghost in the Shell. And I am kind of, like, mentally comparing it to Standalone Complex, because that's another thing I've been doing since I've been sick, is I was inspired by that giant Dungeon Chill retrospective to bust out my Blu-rays of Standalone Complex, and I've been watching them off and on. That's probably what I'm going to do after we wrap the show. Let's crunch a few more episodes of that. I will say that was another thing that I was doing, was actually, it's kind of funny talking about switching to Rain Brain. I'm kind of glad to have KCD and maybe some other things to ratchet myself around, because I've been in a very different place watching Ghost in the Shell. I've actually been off and on writing a little bit of Jack of All Trades again, singular to word fiction, and just kind of like keeping that in mind. It's a little surprising, but not that surprising, that it's pretty easy to slip in to working on that. So I have actually been kind of off and on chipping on the 7th chapter. It's been pretty easy to slip back into characters and just like that. And yeah, Edge Runners 2 is coming out soon. When is that actually hitting Netflix? I'm so glad you guys can't see my screen as I struggle to write the word Edge Runner into Google. Edge Runner Season 2 will be on Netflix. When?
I think they said it was like October or November.
Let's see. Still says Q4 for 2? Okay. Well, it is a Netflix joint, so it will probably be all one batch. I wonder if it will be another 10 episodes. But I know the first one's floating out there. Maybe they'll tease it earlier. I mean, it's Edge Runners. Like, it's Cyberpunk. Everybody's gonna die.
Yep. Get attached, but know that their time is limited.
Unfortunately, Talia is super dead because she's a cool cyborg woman with old school anime hair vents. She's too cool to live. Like, she's cooked.
Nah.
Like, I am pretty sure that, like, the thing is, yeah, Alex mentioned it too. The thing is that, like, that media kid, no, he's gonna be the most fucked up character of all. Like, medias in Cyberpunk are, like, nasty people. Like, I don't even think, like, a fate worse than death. Like, that kid is gonna get into some shit. Like, I've already seen people joking about how, like, oh, Adam Smasher's gonna show up again, but, like, instead of, like, killing everybody, the kid's just gonna fucking clip him. He's gonna be like, hey, kid, put this shit in a montage. And if you think that doesn't sound like Adam Smasher, I would like to remind you, Adam Smasher is also from 2020. Canonically, he has a backup drone body which looks exactly like Elvis that he used to go on dates with the other Arasaka daughter. So, like, the man has a little bit of an ego. Also, can you tell when the original Cyberpunk was written that there's, like, a whole fucking Elvis subplot in there? I think there's a poser gang who all dresses up like Elvis. Yeah, Adam Smasher exists to be a TPK machine. I'm pretty sure Johnny Silverhand is there to do the dumb shit that Johnny Silverhand does, like, in 2077, so that you can have a crew have to, like, do work, basically. Like background characters like Alt and, like, Rogue and Rach, Bart Moss. Find him in a freezer. Like, those guys are there for, like, fluff and background and to have, like, cool references. Like, Johnny feels like the kind of guy who's there to be like, well, guess what? Old Johnny Silverhand caused a riot again. What are we gonna do? They're paying us, a shitload of eddies to get his ass out of prison again. Though, I mean, I think that could be I wonder if anybody's done that. Actually, it probably is a pre-generated adventure. I wanted to say, I wonder if there is an adventure where you get to be Johnny's crew as he nukes Arasaka Tower. I'm pretty sure that is, like, loosely canon already. Because there's, Shaitan, Rabbit, Rogue. Yeah, I know they're working on a Cyberpunk sequel. I know they wanted to have Morgan Blackhand in originally, but it didn't like work out with, like, all the design they pared down. It would be kind of interesting to see him show up. Because the 2077 and some of the stuff for Red implies that Morgan Blackhand is, like, running around as, like, some of the, related to, like, the weird, blue eye AI guys. So, like, he's probably still kicking.
Somewhere.
Yeah, no, like, canonically, he's on the Arasaka Tower mission. It's just Johnny's memories edit him out, because of course Johnny does. Morgan Blackhand is definitely is cooler than Johnny Silverhand. But yes, there is your Cyberpunk update. Let me check the clock. About 3:30. We did not Deathwatch, so we can't magically add 30 minutes to this. Anything else hopping with you, Lucky?
Not particularly. Like I said, we are excited for the Deathwatch.
Yes. We will get back to it.
We did do a little bit of talking, but it was mostly finalizing our gear and XP and purchases. So we should all be good to go.
Right away. That's good, because, like,
right away.
I mentioned before, I've got plans for kind of, like,
I will say, though, if Dallas shows up and says, like, oh, wait, I didn't do this, I'm quitting the game. I am literally quitting the game. He had an extra week.
Maybe start talking about it on like, Saturday again to be like, hey, Dallas, did you think about your rec spend ahead of time? Because Dallas does get distracted. I think, did he say something last Sunday about setting it up? I know he didn't post a list, but I can't remember if Dallas talked about it. Like I said, I was feverish, so.
I will say something, and if he's like, oh, wait, I didn't do my thing, I'm done. He had a whole extra week. We talked about it in the chat. He did pop in and said to make sure you were better, so I'm pretty sure he read shit.
Let's see. blah, 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 talking about.
Yes, also, I would love accurate on the Reaper autocannon just for absolute bullshit.
Yeah, I think Axe is locked in for one of his future plans to get the advanced spec Forge Master, which is, I mean, all the advanced specs are pretty cool, but that one gets to be a little silly.
Also, Axe, you were going to do Forge Master whether or not you wanted to give me accurate. Do not try to sell it as such.
No, but Axe does like to. Axe obviously has his own personal goals, but he also does like to frame it as like what he can bring for others. He does like to support or at least be useful. I think we're talking about it. Yeah. Did Dallas weigh in on any of the guardsman ideas?
He did, actually. I do remember that. He was a fan of the Fire Drakes.
That's right.
And
It was before you reposted all of them. That's as far back as I scrolled up.
And I think another one. I think we did finalize what we wanted to do.
Yeah, I'll probably check in with everybody because that the conversation has cycled through a couple of things, but we had a long talk about that.
Yeah. No, but so very, very excited about that.
No, we are gonna have fun. Like I think I did say this last week on the live stream show where I was like not sure if I'd be feeling well enough to do it, but I am very interested to see what everybody does with their extra renown and extra EXP. Because we are getting some fun purchases. So we are excited.
Just can't hide it.
Yeah. But if you don't have anything else from the Wick you want to bring up, I am still a little ill, so I'm like I feel like even after only 3.5 hours, I'm like, oh, I'm getting a little parched.
A little parched.
Getting a little juiced. We can wind it in.
Let's wind it in.
Alright, let's reel it in like a big fish. So, hey, this has been Let's Tech FGO. Thanks, everybody, for tuning and dialing in. Hope you've enjoyed all of our updates there. We'll be back at you next week with more. It's the 14th. The 15th is the launch day, so we should have first impressions of summer. Get ready to see how those banners are going, that kind of a thing. And, of course, I do actually think also Waiting for You at the end of summer should be over. So we'll see, again, what's going on next with JP. Is there a secret bonus banner? So be sure to tune in. Make sure you're liking the video, you're leaving your comments, and you're subscribing to get more, because we will be doing I'll be making that seal wanted sometime during the middle of the week, and there's other stuff that could always crop up. Sorry, clear my throat a little. You can also join our Discord. There's role threads, there's normal FGO threads to discuss about friend setups and friend lists. I know there's been a few things going around, people coordinating, all that fun stuff. Just generally hang out, ask questions. We got threads about 14, we got other stuff. Sorry, Final Fantasy 14. I should specify a little. That one might be out of context. You never know. Somebody might have clicked to the outro. But yeah, all that. Consider supporting us on channel memberships, and consider supporting us on Patreon. You can get this episode early in audio format for as little as $1 a month. At higher levels, you can get access to videos like Wanted early, and you can vote in topic polls like Fanservant Friday. New poll is up now. And you can listen at the higher levels. You can also listen to the show get recorded live every week, like our wonderful and beautiful live patrons did. And at the highest tier, you can get a shout-out like I'm Tark, Busto G, Call Me Zed, Carlos, Dragon, JDV Nantesan, Rise of Kenji, Rogue Ramen, and Sharvor. Thank you very much for listening, everybody. Thank you very much to patrons for supporting. That is going to be it from us this week. We'll see you next time. Be sure to check out our upcoming regularly scheduled streams as well. We will hopefully be back to Resident Evil this Monday and continue on from there. That's going to be it from me. So I say bye-bye, everybody.
Have a good night, everyone.